From the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back. Y'all already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Man, y'all already know what time it is, man. It's the 50-50 Show. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You already know, man. It's that time, man. Hey, we got a lot to talk about. I know. Hey, it's the offseason. It's the offseason and free agency. I can say it. We could be honest. Like, it's not really what we expected it to be. And we'll get into that conversation a little bit, man, before we even get into anything, man. Man, shout out to The Severe Raider. We're going live on both our channels. Obviously, myself, PharoahNFL. We got The Severe Raider down below. And, hey, man, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And before we even get into the show, man, we got to salute the chat. Salute to the night crew. The night crew's in the building, man. Appreciate y'all coming through. We got Desert Raider in the building. So I'm telling you, this is straight 90s R&B vibe Jodeci reunion tour. I think he's referencing the picture I use of Geno Smith and Shadur Sanders. They recently got together, and I guess they took a picture, and it does kind of look like that, man. But the 90s is making a comeback. I don't know if y'all noticed, man. Like, It's everywhere. It's not just Geno Smith and Shadur Sanders taking pictures like they in the 90s, but it's everywhere, man. But y'all clowning, man.
Clowning.
It's a slow jam mix #1. We had to record songs over. Damn. Okay. Shout out to Raider Ryan in the building. PNW Mark Raiders in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. Donald wants to start the conversation early. He says, why haven't we tried for CJ Mosley, and why haven't we tried beefing up the O-line? And, Raider Loso kind of comes in here, man. Appreciate you coming through. He says, CJ Mosley's coming back from a herniated disc in his neck. Pretty sure that's why there hasn't been too much interest. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough. And we're going to get into that, man. It's a few guys out there that they haven't been signed yet. And I think last week when we were looking at like some of the guys that were available, I believe it was former corner. His pops was a corner. Asante Samuel Jr. One of the thing, he had stinger-related symptoms, and it's something that is genetic. Like he's had it all. Like that's crazy. So I'm sure that's probably a reason why he hasn't signed, and he can't tackle. Let's be honest. I mean, I know why the Raiders don't want to sign him. I mean, if because we've seen it firsthand, him and Devontae just going crazy on him. But that's a whole different conversation. But
crazy on him.
Yeah. But Marty Mart says Geno Milroe, Geno and AO, Geno Kyle, Geno Joe. Yeah, there's gonna be plenty of those, man. Hey, look, we're gonna get into it, man. We're gonna Billy Davis in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. Chill Ray, my guy. Appreciate you coming through. I don't know what that is. Man, appreciate it. Shield 60 in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, they be coming in. You already know. I gotta look at it real quick and be like, I don't know about that one. I don't know what that means. Man, are the Warriors, are they blowing it already? Come on, man. We don't want that to happen.
They lost yesterday
against Denver.
Yesterday, without, bro. With no Jokic, no Jamal Murray.
Yeah, man. Steph looking tired. He was looking tired that last game. I don't know what's happening this game, but it is what it is. They were on a hot streak since the All-Star break, so tough loss, but hopefully they'll bounce back. But yeah, man. Glass jaw Geno with a Jets hat. That's it. Just
that's when Geno got socked out by that linebacker over that bet.
When it was a bet.
Yeah, it's a bet. Yeah, I guess to him and the linebacker, IK Inapali, he made a bet. I think it's like $600 bet, and he broke Geno's jaw. I think that was like Geno's third year in the league.
Damn, I forgot about that. That's crazy. That's wild.
That's a big story. I think he ended up missing the season or something like that too. And he was like never. I don't think he ever regained his starting position with the Jets after that.
Yeah, man, and that's another thing too. The Jets, when it comes to quarterbacks, I know the Raiders have it bad, but the Jets, you can make an argument Jets might be worse. I mean, like I don't even because at least we can point to like, okay, we had this guy for a certain amount of time. We had this guy for a year or two. You know what I mean? Obviously, Derek Carr for almost 10 years. But even before that, like a Jason Campbell. Like, who did they have? Like Mark Sanchez, we all found out that he was trash. He wasn't that good.
He went to the playoffs though, I think so.
But why did they go to the playoffs though? It was because of that.
It wasn't Mark Sanchez.
It wasn't Mark Sanchez. He was a game manager. It almost looked like, oh, maybe, because it seemed like, all the young QBs, they have that similar rise. They come to a team that's already established. They have a good defense, good run game. Then they develop, and then they end up taking over and carrying the team. But Sanchez, he didn't have that.
Never happened.
Never happened for him. But
the last guy was Chad Pennington.
Chad Pennington, maybe, yeah. Damn. Yeah, see, it's been a long time, man. That's one thing the Raiders got over some teams, you know what I mean? Like, hey, like it's not as bad. It's not as the Jets might have it worse. They might have it worse, but yeah, man, let's not waste any time, man. It was over a plane ticket.
don't know. I thought it was like a bet.
Oh,
He didn't pay
man.
up on.
Damn.
Maybe,
Damn, that's wild.
The Jets released the linebacker immediately. Matter of fact, he signed with us like in 2017. I want to say he was on our like off-season roster. I don't think he didn't make the 53, but we had signed him for a little bit.
That's wild, man. Well, let's not waste any time, and let's get into it. Obviously, the Raiders. It's kind of been slow with free agency. They've taken the more measured approach. They for sure had some targets, and they got who they wanted to get. I think the biggest thing is quarterback, and they kind of addressed that before free agency, re-signing some guys. But for the most part, like, I think the league overall have been kind of, conservative when it comes to this free agency, because it's not really been it's not the strongest class. We keep talking about that. It's like we look at the list, we're like, this guy's kind of hurt. This guy over here, he's going to get more than what we want to pay. Do you really want to pay this guy top 5 money? You can make an argument the Raiders probably could have signed one guy, one starter. But like their measured approach leaves the Raiders with a lot of holes on defense on this team. Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts so far on how the Raiders kind of address free agency?
When you look at it initially, I was like, all right, it's a solid free agency. We picked up some guys, we signed a few guys, but then when you look at our roster on paper, it just looks bad, man. It looks bad. I think we needed another linebacker. We needed for sure. I need another receiver. I know we brought back Darnay Holmes, but ideally you want to upgrade at nickel as well. It's just a lot of holes on this roster that we're going to be, relying on either guys, some cuts, from other rosters, to kind of latch on here, or young guys via the draft. So this team is going to be, when it's all said and done, we're going to probably have a lot of young guys playing a lot of valuable minutes and valuable snaps rather. Which if you're a win now team, that's not the scenario you want to be in. Now, if you're projecting toward the future, ideally, that's what you do. But we were told by Pete Carroll that they were trying to go after this thing right now. So if you're trying to go after this thing right now, if your starter at wide receiver across from Jacoby Myers is Trey Tucker, like you're in a pretty rough spot, right? If your starter at linebacker, is your starters right now linebacker are a Landon Roberts and Luke Masterson, and maybe Amari Burney, like it's looking pretty rough right now. So your starter at nickel is Darnay Holmes. It's like, okay, like is that really what you want? So it's a lot of holes to fill, man. It's a lot of holes to fill.
It's a lot of holes to fill, and you're not going to be able to fill them all in one off season. And it's like, it's like weird because it's because the Raiders were kind of in the same predicament last season, and now we're in the same predicament. So it's like we're kind of like in a standstill. Like, are we getting better? Are we getting worse? And I think the biggest issue, this is the number one issue. The number one issue is the Raiders go out and sell the fans, the public, whatever, that we're basically here to win now. You mentioned it right now. That's the main thing. It's like you're telling everybody that you want to win now. You're not even trying to be measured with your words and how you're trying to tell the fans and measure their expectations, how we're trying to build this thing for the long run, yada, all that, right? They're not doing that. Pete Carroll's coming in. He's saying, hey, we're coming here. We're trying to win now, which, hey, it's good. I mean, that's what a head coach is supposed to do. I mean, I guess. But at the end of the day, like, you didn't resign it. You didn't even try to be aggressive in free agency. But I'm not mad at them. I'm not like saying what they're doing is wrong. But remember, we looked at that contract by Nate Hobbs. I'm like, you could have made it work, because it's how it was basically how it was pretty much a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
You could have gave Nate Hobbs that type of deal. Like, it's because all about the guarantees, right? So I felt like they could have probably brought back one of those guys. I mean, maybe you could have made a case for Spillane. Some people would be like, he's getting older. He's not the coverage guy that you would want to pay. Yada, yada. I get that. Okay. but at least bring one of those guys. We didn't bring anybody back. Now we have more questions than answers at certain positions. So I guess that's the biggest critique is like, you say you want to win now, but like you're not really aggressive in free agency. And we'll see what happens in the draft, I guess. And you make a good point about that. There's going to be a lot of young players. It's like, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, a whole lot of confidence in Pete Carroll and his ability to coach up the team. So, but we'll see. But let's actually get into what some of the people in the chat were talking about. Geno Smith and Shadur Sanders recently, got together, and I guess we're hanging out, and they took a picture, and what led some people to believe or to start a conversation like, man, Geno really is like trying to. I mean, not Geno, but Shadur is trying to put himself any way he can with the Raiders. We heard that him and Tom Brady having a connection, a relationship. Geno Smith obviously is the quarterback for the Raiders. So if you have a good relationship with the most likely the starting quarterback for the Raiders going into the season, you're kind of like already building that relationship there. And then you never know, that might be the pick at number 6, or if let's say if Shadur drops and goes into the second round, maybe it's the pick in the second round, whatever. Do you think that this points to Shadur being a guy that the Raiders are targeting, or Shadur wanting to come to the Raiders? However you want to answer that.
I don't know. I think what Shadur is, and what we've learned, and what we are learning, is that Shadur is somebody that he's very media savvy, and Shadur is going to play up to all. He's been playing up to all these different fan bases, right? Like remember there was the thing about the cleats, and he's like, oh, the cleats I wear or the team I'm gonna go to, and it was like or the colors of the team I'm gonna go to, and it was some Giants colored cleats, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was a time when he was autographing the pair of cleats, and they were silver and black. He was like, oh man, shout out to the Raiders. And then it was when him and Cam Ward were working out. They're talking about Pete Carroll over there. He's like, oh man, he don't want you, he want me. And then it was the situation where, oh, you know what? Hey, my favorite team to play with on Madden, I always play with the Browns. Like he knows how to use the media to kind of keep that talk about him, and that's a skill, because the one of the most valuable currencies on earth is attention, and he knows how to get attention. The fact that we're talking about it right now, people he knows, hey, taking that picture with Geno Smith, that's going to get people's attention. That's going to drive a conversation. That's going to have people talking. So I don't read too much into it, other than the fact that Shadur Sanders, he's already becoming a master of the media, and I'm sure he learned some of that from one of the best to ever do it in Prime.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point, because he's found a way to try to connect himself to certain teams. And what we've kind of noticed, I don't know if y'all, Brady Nation, if everybody that watches the show, if y'all haven't noticed this, agents, players like to use the Raiders. Coaches, they like to use the Raiders for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes it's contract negotiations. Sometimes it's to create a buzz. In this case, Shadur, I remember that, like him, like out of all colors, got silver and black. It's just certain things that he would do where I'm like, oh, okay. And guess what? The Raiders, the Raiders are probably, they have one of the best fan bases in the NFL. If there's any type of player with any type of talent trying to connect himself with the Raiders, it's going to blow up. It's going to blow up. Social media is going to go crazy. It's going to be talked about. And players, agents, teams, Dion, all of them over there, they all know that. So I think it remains to be seen. And we'll probably get into that conversation a little bit, because I know you have something that you want to talk about. Make sure to tune in. Notable quotables. We got something to talk about as far as if Shadur really wants to come to the Raiders. Just make sure to tune in. But But yeah, man. Hey, man. If you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Are the Raiders done with free agency? You think it's over at this point?
I mean, it's slow. It's certainly slow to a crawl. I would hope they're not done. 'Cause as I said, you at the very least want some veteran competition at all of these spots. You don't want it. You don't want it to be forced to play young guys. And even though they've been in the league a couple years, I still consider Amari Burney a young guy. Amari Gaynor, this is only his second year, so he's still a young guy. Luke Masterson, I don't want him anywhere near the field. Tommy Eichenberg either. So I would like to see at least a few more guys get brought in. There's still some guys at a few positions we can kick the tires on. Isaiah Simmons is still out there. Elijah Moore is still out there. Just off the top of my head, we already talked about Asante Samuel Jr. I don't know if that's a rabbit hole we kind of want to go down, but there are still some guys out there that could get brought in that can, at the very least, provide some competition, and if nothing else, some depth.
I'll throw in Tevin Jenkins, but he comes with
Tevin Jenkins too, yeah.
But he comes with a really injury flag though. Like they would have to.
Yeah.
I don't know how maybe incentivize that contract, or it would have to be team friendly for sure, just because it's a guy that I'm sure. I don't know if there's anybody on this team in the front office or coaching staff that is connected to Tevin Jenkins. So for them to take a risk, they would have to protect themselves for sure. So that's what's really left at this point in free agency. It's a lot of injury prone players. Guys a little longer in the tooth. It is what it is. I think it's pretty much over. There might be a signing or two, but it's nothing that's going to be earth shattering. F Dallas says, "Yo, y'all gonna like Jeremy Chin? I'm disappointed. The Skins didn't re-sign him." He's talking about the Commanders. Also, just my opinion, but I wouldn't draft Sanders in the first. Yeah, man. Shout out to the Raiders, man. They went ahead and bounced back and signed a guy like Jeremy Chin, who is kind of have a similar skill set to Morig, maybe not as good, but he kind of gives you that versatility, physical player. So I think that was a nice little signing for the Raiders to make. So it wasn't all bad. Like I said, I felt like the Raiders didn't do anything wrong. It's just, man, like why even try to make it seem like they're going to be aggressive and they're going to go out and they're going to try to win and this and that. I'm like, if it's a rebuild, it's a rebuild. We kind of went into it like, hey, look, because it's funny because a lot of the players that they were trying to attack, not a lot of the players, a lot of the moves that they were trying to make at quarterback were these proven starters, like a Matthew Stafford, starting with Matthew Stafford, now Geno Smith, which tells you like, hey, they're trying to win now. Like, why not go cheap at that position and then draft a guy in the first round, which might tell you how they feel about the draft and that quarterback position. But, that's a whole different conversation. But, man, shout out to Jack, man. Appreciate you coming through. Man, he said, hey, look, man, clock in is like, as we like to say, man. But, Jack, he says hit the likes on both channels. Yeah, man.
My God.
For sure.
Jack,
without a doubt. Kevin in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. Man, we got everybody pulling up left and right. But yeah, man, let's move it along, man. Hey, man, let's not waste any time. Let's get into it, man. Flag on the play.
Personal foul. Yes. 69. Offense. He was giving them the business. We played it down.
Man, but hey, you know what? This week we got a couple of flags on the play. We'll start. Yeah. We'll start off on. We'll start off with something light. Like Andre James goes ahead and signs with the Chargers, man. I'm not gonna lie, like that was kind of ugly. He played for the Raiders for years, and he goes ahead. That's a sign of, obviously we understand it's a business, but at the end of the day, it's still a flag. He goes ahead and goes sign with the Raiders nemesis and the Chargers. It's a one-sided thing. You know what I mean? Obviously like. They hate us. They hate us more than we hate them. To be honest with you,
Facts.
if we're being real. But yeah, man. Andre James goes ahead and sign a deal. I think it's like a 1-year deal. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Let's see here. Yeah, man. But, I'm not sure if he's guaranteed a starting spot,
I doubt it.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know at this point. And it's kind of interesting because I know they're a running football team. Like, I feel like they're more of a gap power blocking offensive line. I'm not sure if Andre James would fit that. Yeah. I don't know, man. Because they went ahead and signed Mekhi Becton. Then they signed. Yeah. Then they have one of the better left tackles in the NFL. I'm forgetting his name.
Notre Dame. Forget his name. Oh no, not Notre Dame. The Notre Dame was the other guy. Rashawn Slater.
Rashawn Slater, and they have a good guard too. I wanted the Raiders to get him, and he ended
up Zion Johnson.
Yeah, did they pick him in the second round or in the first round? Like, they did a good job of building.
I don't remember. I wanted him the year they came out though. I think he came out of Boston College. I think I remember wanting him too.
Yeah, but man, that's flag on a play on Andre James. We had to call it. That's how we see it, man. But what are your thoughts on the move?
Yeah, man, it's just dirty. Going to sign with the rival. Yeah, but what's really nasty is that a guy that was supposed to be our solidified starter at center is so bad that he had to settle for a 1-year deal on a team where he's almost certainly going to be the backup. Like, that tells you how desperate we were at that position and how much we needed an upgrade, which is why we had to draft JPJ. So happy to have JP in the fold. Kind of nasty that our starting center couldn't even get a sniff at a starting spot anywhere else in the league. It's pretty nasty. But we moved on. We have our center of the future. Locked down. A franchise center, if there's such a thing, in JPJ. So I'm good. I'm good over here.
Yeah, I think he. This is crazy to say, but I think he had Derek Carr syndrome. Like literally, he was the starting center by default because we didn't have any other option, and we just decided to keep him because it's not like we're overpaying him or anything like that. But eventually, they had to make a replacement. Once they found a better option, the rest is history. Andre James is no longer a Raider, but that's not the issue. It's just the fact that he went to the Chargers. But if he goes to the Chargers, Christian Wilkins is about to go to work. I'm just letting you know.
And Adam Butler, they both gonna eat. He's
going to work for sure. But yeah, man, let's not waste any time, man. Let's go to the next flag on play. This is the one I've been waiting for. What I mean? I wanted to talk about it during last week around the Shield because that's when it came out, late last week. But this one's about no other than former Raider quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. And, he ends up re-signing with the Rams, which is funny because obviously the wide receiver that literally was talking trash during the wide receiver documentary, he was talking about Jimmy G. So that's going to be interesting when for whatever reason, he gets on the field. But yes. He talked to, the LA Times, and they talked to him. He had a few quotes, but there was one, notable quotable, but in this case, it's a flag on a play. Yeah. When asked about why he signed with the Rams, he says it's really more about the situation than the opportunity, said Garoppolo, who also played for New England Patriots, San Francisco 49ers, and Las Vegas Raiders. There were some opportunities, but I've been in a bad organization, and I've seen how it can wear on you throughout the year. Just talking to my brothers, my family, and didn't want to go through that again. So once I seen that, I'm like, what? This is the first thing that popped in my mind. All right, this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to smoke. See, at the end of the day, when the Raiders signed Jimmy G, I never really believed in him as a player. Even when he was with the 49ers, I felt like he was always a guy that was carried by the players around him. So I never really believed in him coming to the Raiders and being that type of quarterback that can. But us being part of the fan base, Raider Nation, we try to make garbage look like, filet mignon or like something. So, we try to make it look really good when it really isn't, And guess what happened? The season comes along. He gets hurt. He's not as good as we thought he could be under McDaniels. But at the end of the day, for him to even say that, how it weird on me, he wasn't good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for him to say, we're playing for a bad organization, because that's because you were starting and you had no business starting. You had no business starting, and that's why the reason why you had a tough time is because you had no business starting. And you're talking about the Raiders, because we all know he's talking about the Raiders, because he had success with the 49ers. The Rams obviously are winning games, so the only team is the Raiders.
The Patriots are the Patriots, so he knows not.
Yeah, facts. And the Patriots, obviously he was backing up Tom Brady at the time when he played, and they were winning games. So we all know he was talking about the Raiders. So that's why I'm giving him the flag on the play. Like, you're a backup QB at best. You've always, to me, in my opinion, been a backup QB masquerading as a starter for some of these teams. Because if you look at the numbers and the talent that was around him, you'd be like, man, like, he's one of the last game managers that we know in the NFL. Like, as far as, you understand what I'm saying? Like, he's not that talented. He's not the guy. Like, I don't know why he's talking like he's the guy. Like, he's the one that signed as a starter with the Raiders, and he signed a big time contract. It's in my eyes, there's no accountability, man. Flag on the play on Jimmy G. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Jimmy Garoppolo. First of all, like, talking about a bad organization, maybe in terms of record wise, but they put out that player association poll every year where they take a vote of the players, and the Raiders consistently get high marks. I think both years, the thing that has dragged the Raiders score down was the head coach, right? Like, both years, the Raiders had pretty bad scores in terms of their head coach. But in terms of facilities, training staff, weight room, the plane, locker room, the meals, all that stuff, the Raiders get high marks. In terms of their facilities and all of the amenities that come along with it and the staffing that they've done, incredibly high marks. I think even Mark Davis got high marks as an owner this past year. So, I mean, the only thing he could have been talking about was maybe Josh McDaniels, but he was Josh McDaniels' guy. Like, Josh McDaniels is the one that brought that guy in. So is he trashing his own guy? And then he got here and didn't do anything, right? He got here and was straight terrible. He could have made it he could have done very good things with this team. We had the talent here for us to do some very good things, and he was the main reason why we didn't. So, he can trash us all he wants to, but now he went from being a potential starter, on a team that was loaded with talent. Now he's a backup, with the Rams, and he's unlikely to get an opportunity to play there anytime soon. So I hope he has fun languishing on the bench. It's probably where he's going to spend the rest of his career, hopping from team to team as a backup quarterback, holding a clipboard. So hope he enjoys it.
Look, you took it easy on him, man. I'm surprised, bro. You took it easy on him. Hey, in my opinion, he's always been a low-end starter at best. At best, he's been a low-end starter. But in reality, he's just another backup. In the NFL, like, the QB position is the hardest position. We understand that. But for him to just say, like, just basically taking a shot at the Raiders, like the Raiders were the one why he had a tough year. No, you were bad, bro. Like, you weren't good.
Exactly.
He wasn't good at all. Like, he was literally throwing hospital balls left and right. Literally had Devontae, pleading. Yeah. So it's gonna be funny, him and Devontae back together. They try to play it off like, oh man, I'm like, I guess they asked him about Devontae, like, oh, I'm excited to play with them and yada da da da. But I'm sure deep down he knows, like, hey man, like, it's probably a little something over there. But it is what it is. Devontae didn't come to the Rams to play with Jimmy G. He came to play there with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. At the end of the day, man, flag on the play on Jimmy G. Lack of accountability. He didn't play well. And he's trying to blame it on, the Raiders being a bad organization. It was tough on me. No, you didn't play well. That's why it was tough. And you were starting instead of being a backup player. You should have been a backup, and then you wouldn't even have any issue.
He's a bum. I mean, he lost the job first to Brian Hoyer, then to Aiden O'Connell. Like, these are the people you're losing your job to, bro. You're losing your job to bottom of the barrel quarterbacks in the league. Somebody that was out of the league and who had to be begged to come back into the league by the coach that brought his bum ass in. So now this coach brought in two and a half bum ass quarterbacks, because right now Aiden O'Connell half a bum himself. So like that whole quarterback room was trash, and you still couldn't be the guy.
Facts.
So I was like that's not like that. Like I want to be mad at dude, but it's like, bro, you're a non-factor, bro. Like,
yeah.
Like you didn't do anything here with us. You got hurt. You came in hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got hurt several times throughout the season.
Yeah.
And then you were benched on multiple occasions.
Right.
And then unceremoniously released. And matter of fact, the Raiders shouldn't be having to pay him because he failed that drug test. So
that's the greatest thing then
you failed the drug test.
Facts.
So
100%.
it's like, bro, like that, go take a seat somewhere. Like, let's take a seat somewhere.
That's probably the best thing that he ever did for the Raiders, was he did something to fail a drug test, and then the Raiders didn't have to pay him. And not that it was my money or anything like that. It's just like, I'm looking at it from like a football perspective. Like, the Raiders have money to sign other players. Because if the Raiders were on the hook of his contract, that means we would have less cap room to sign other players, meaning we would have it, we wouldn't get good players on the squad. So I thought that was probably the best thing that he did with his Raider career. It is what it is. We have to call it like we see it, man. I couldn't wait to talk about this because I was like, what? I was already disgusted that you signed with the Raiders, and I had to like be positive about it. Like, and then the fact that like he didn't play well, and then he tried to point the finger at, basically the Raiders on why, he had a tough time. Like, no, you just played bad. If you were playing good, then you wouldn't be saying all that. Straight up.
Exactly. Still be here. I mean, as a matter of fact, he'd still be here probably.
Exactly, man. Flag on the play on Jimmy G. Man, let's see what the night crew's talking about, man. Kevin Lurker says, blame game of a loser.
Facts.
God, man. Jimmy talking that trash, and we paying him $12 million this year to do it. No, we not. Are we still paying him? I thought we were out that contract.
I thought since he felt that drug test, but I don't know. I thought we got out of that deal though, because he felt that drug test, if I recall correctly.
Can we find out? Can we go to Spot Check and find that out? I gotta look. I gotta see, because I could have sworn that because he failed a drug test sometime during the season when he was playing, Raiders were able to get out of that contract.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. Not speak for yourself. I knew he was trash. I did too, man. But every time, I don't know what it is. Every time a player comes to Raiders, I'll be like, maybe he finally figures it out. Maybe he finally. I always do that. I don't know why I always do that. I always try to find a way. Like, okay, maybe somehow, the coaching staff can unlock that hidden potential in you, or, like for example, with Jimmy G. I wasn't like bullish on his talent, but I was like, oh, you know what? Guess who drafted you with the Patriots? Yeah. Josh McDaniels was there. So I'm like, okay, the system is tailored for you to be successful. And you got receivers left and right. Oh, okay, I was buying into that. Should have known. I should have known. Coach says they always have to come back and shut us for their own screw-ups. Yeah, facts, man. There's no accountability, bro. None.
Yeah, at all. And that's supposed to be like the leader of an organization when you're a quarterback. It's like it just says a lot right there, man.
I mean, if he's a backup at best, we gave him a ton of money to start. Is he lying? Yeah, that was the dumbest. And you know how bad it was that the Raiders signed him is the fact that the day of his signing, he had to get surgery. So the Raiders had everything lined up to be like, I don't know. And it's happened before. It's happened before. Let's go rewind it a little bit. Let's take it back a little bit. Let's go all the way back to Reggie McKenzie when he was about to sign that offensive lineman, and something came up on his physical. I'm trying to remember his name. He played for the Rams. Yeah. And then he went to Tennessee. He eventually, I think when he went to Tennessee after the Raiders deal fell through because he didn't pass his physical, and Mark Davis wasn't comfortable with it, so he pulled the plug, and that's why they didn't end up signing him. I'm trying to remember the name. Made a chat.
I think it's Saffold.
Roger Saffold. There you go. Yep. Roger Saffold. That was the guy. Yeah.
And we were gonna sign him to play left tackle, and the Rams had him playing guard. I want to say, we were gonna play or we were signing to play tackle. I don't know if it's left tackle or right tackle. We were signing to play tackle, and the Rams had him playing guard because he failed at tackle.
Yeah. I wish Mark would have came in. It was like, wait, hold up. He got to get surgery on his foot, and you guys about to give him this much? I mean, technically at the time when we seen the deal, we're like, it wasn't a terrible deal for a guy that was a former starter and yada, yada, yada. But he was injury prone. It was just man. And the day of he gets surgery and you find out he needs surgery and you still give him that deal, I would have been tearing the deal like this. Tearing it up all right, let's get back to the negotiation table real quick and just figure out a better deal that makes sense. Let's incentivize this deal. Like if you throw 20 touchdowns, we'll give you about basically the majority of this contract. But if you don't, it's over. But that's the rest. That's all in the past. It is what it is. The Raiders made that, but it was a bad move. A lot of things didn't make sense. But that was the McDaniels and Dave Ziegler era. It was a lot of questionable things that happened. But yeah, you're right, man. The Raiders. I'm not saying the Raiders are the greatest team. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying for him to say that. Why are you saying that? You can't say that. You should focus on your play on the football field. You shouldn't be talking about calling the Raiders if you played well, then I'd be like, you know what? At least he's coming from a place of more credibility. Yeah. I don't know. That's just me. Coach is calling you out, Severe.
What did he say?
He went hard. He went in at the end though. He went in at the end.
He caught
yourself. He went in at the man. Jimmy couldn't play in the CFL. Yeah, man. Hey, look. Sometimes, man, the NFL is a lot of it has a lot. There's a lot of. It's all about relationships at the end of the day. So, I'm sure a guy like McVay, who played against Jimmy when he played for the 49ers, he probably has a little respect for him and yada yada yada. Hey, look, he has him in the backup. That it is what it is. But it'd be funny though if Stafford's. I don't want to hope for injury, but if Stafford,
gets hurt. Out there throwing hospital balls at Devontae. That would be what they both deserve.
Man.
Jimmy G getting sacked and Devontae, having to catch them hospital balls.
I know. I saw that, Steve, man. Glass jaw Geno is crazy. It's crazy. Desert, I think Desert has an answer for us. He says voided his salary in 2024 and roster bonus, then got suspended and missed 2 games. There you go. See, boom.
Okay.
Just another DJ. I still put most of the blame on Jamie D for signing him, knowing he needed surgery. Yeah, facts, 100%.
Yeah, not facts.
And I think McDaniels, I felt like was running the show more than Ziegler. I felt like the only reason why Ziegler was the GM was because Mark wanted to get McDaniels, and I think Ziegler knew that. Oh, so yeah. Anytime a big decision came in, it was so McDaniels, should we go with this guy?
Yeah. That's on him though. At that point, if you're the GM, bro, I don't care how I get the job. If I get the job, bro, I'm gonna do the job. I ain't about to be deferring. That's some, that's some sucker stuff. He should have been doing his job. And I think at that point, the Raiders were desperate. At that point, they were playing musical chairs, and the only chair left, had that raggedy ass leg on there. So it's like, well, damn, I still got to sit down, So at that point, they had met their bed already, and it's too late to back out, or unless you rolling with Brian Hoyer as your starter, or Aiden O'Connell at that point was a fourth round rookie. So like, it's they played themselves at that point.
But it's interesting though, because I know everybody was like, man, why didn't they go with what was the guy that came in for Derek Carr at the end, who's backup QB for Broncos, Stidham, right? We could have signed Stidham or anybody else cheaper at that position, and probably traded up to get a QB. And think about it, McDaniels probably would have bought himself more time, because you draft a QB. For sure, you draft up for a young QB, you're gonna get more time, because I'm sure Mark is gonna be like, oh, and we do this too as well. Like, hey, well, the quarterback does need more time to develop, and yada yada yada. You know what happens. The quarterback gets a lot of the blame when they lose, and too much credit when they win. So a young QB, it would have been a situation where like, oh, well, he needs time to develop, be in the system, and yada yada yada. There'd have been a whole bunch of excuses like lined up, and time that for a coaching staff. And that's why like it sucks for this. I know we're taking it back all the way to last season, but that's why like a guy like AP gets fired in one season, because there's nothing really for him to hold on to, because they didn't get their young QB. They didn't give him a time to, it's just, it is what it is. But Eric asked a question. He says, who do you guys want the Raiders to take in the draft? And I guess that one of the things that we wanted to talk about was a guy that we talked about before is T-Mac.
Yeah.
Tedero McMillan, he had his pro day, and a lot of people were paying attention to how well he would run. And early, like high-end, like I guess the high-end 40-yard dash report, I think was what, 4.48?
4.46 was the fastest I saw.
4.46, and the slowest I seen was probably 4.58, 4.57. So I think he's probably a 4.5 guy. He's probably a 4.5 guy.
It's 4.5 guy. Which is for his size, that's really Devontae's probably like a 4.5 guy. So like for with his size and his ball skills and his hands and his ability to high point the ball and his ability to track the ball and his ability, what he can do with the ball in his hands after he makes the catch, like 4.5 is that's plenty good enough. Ideally, you want faster than that, but 4.5 is plenty good enough.
Yeah, and that's solid, especially for his size. I mean, he's like what, 6'4", 6'5". You know what I mean? And
6'4", almost 6'5".
Yeah, and a lot of his game is using his size, so it's not like, I don't think anybody had the expectation like, oh man, he's gonna be a burner. But I think him kind of putting that out there kind of shows that, all right, well, he's not a 4.6 or 4.7 guy, but at the end of the day, does a 40-yard dash really matter? I mean, at the end of the day, it's what's your football speed. What does it look like when you run in with pads on? So, but does that guarantee that he gets picked in the top 10?
Guarantee? No. 4.5 is not going to guarantee. Guess if he was like low 4.4s, oh, he's going. He might, if he ran low 4.4s, the Patriots might have been like, shoot, we can take him at 4. Like that's the kind of ability he has everywhere else. Literally, like that's basically the only question mark about him is like, is his long speed. But other than that, like he checks just about all the other boxes. So if he runs low 4.4s, he's top 5 pick. Right now, he should be top 10, but there's always a chance you could fall out. There's some guys who tested well at the combine. The Armand Membu guy. You always got to worry about what's the guy from Georgia, Jalen. Damn, I forgot my guy's name. Pass rusher. I can't think of his name right now. But there's some other guys that are going to be risers. So it all depends on what teams identify as a need. It's pretty shallow wide receiver class. It's top heavy. So if you're in need of a number 1 receiver, you probably got to get one early. If not, you're gonna be left holding the bag. Yeah,
and I'm trying to look up and see like if he did any other testing. I'm not seeing that I want to see what his vertical looked like, because a guy at 6'4", 6'5", imagine him having like a 40-inch vertical like that. That probably make kind of solidify his spot can that kind of convert like 6'5", 6'6", imagine 40-inch vertical, a lot of jump balls that he's gonna win in the NFL. But I think the only thing he did was run that 40. That's the only thing I've seen that's reported. So that being said, I think McMillan's a guy that we would consider at 6. I can see the Raiders trading down too as well. And I can see like the Raiders staying at 6, and like if 2 quarterbacks get taken within the top 5, then that means like some top prospect is going to get down to 6. We're going to get basically the best player. So whether that's a Travis Hunter, that's a
Mason Graham.
I'm not sure if Abdul Carter is going to drop, but
I doubt it.
He's a guy that's is one of the best players, if not the best player in the draft. Same thing with even Travis Hunter, but I just feel like we're going to get one of those guys, and I'm not sure if the Raiders are going to trade down with those guys on the board. If they do, then we got more second round picks. I mean, do you envision them trading up at this point?
Trading back?
No, trading up, because we could see them possibly trading down, but can you see them trading up if? No. I know I keep asking you the same question, but I think Cam Ward, let's say if he's at number 4.
Pre-Geno, yes. But now that we already gave up, if it's at 5, I think it's a different story. At 5 is a different story. 4, I think, because they already gave up a 3rd for Geno. It's going to be tough to justify giving up more. Another. Like if there's a difference between like people are the Falcons did it. Well, Michael Penix like fell in their lap. They didn't like and the Falcons, they didn't trade for Kirk Cousins, right? They signed him. So it's a completely different scenario to trade for a guy like Geno and then have to trade again for a guy like Cam Ward, especially on a team where we just identified we have all of these needs. They haven't addressed all of them in free agency. So the thought is we're going to address them in the draft. Now, the one position that you're pretty solid at, you're giving up draft capital, taking away from your opportunities to address these other needs to pick up a position that you've solidified already by trading a draft pick. So like it wouldn't make a lot of sense.
I hear you, but it's a 3rd round. In my eyes, it's a 3rd round pick. I know they're gonna pay Geno, and it's probably gonna be he's probably gonna be a more probably an expensive bridge quarterback. But the quarterback position is the most important position in football. And Geno is not like he's in his 20s. It's not like you're going to be heavily invested. It's not going to be like a 5-6 year deal. It's going to be like 2 to 3 years. Look,
we have a notable quotable about that as well. We'll see.
Because if it's like a 5-year deal, if it's like a 4 or 5 year deal, we all know that contract is like 2 to 3 years. Max 2 to 3 years as far as like guarantee.
If it's fine, exactly, but
we'll see I think it's still a possibility if Cam, which I don't think is gonna be there at number 4, but if he is, I think the Raiders would look into trading up, because then that's like a perfect situation. Because think about it, the Raiders, I mean, I know completely different scenario, but Chiefs had Alex Smith as a starter, and they traded up to go get Mahomes. They knew what they had in Alex Smith. He was their starter, but they still were aggressive to get a younger player at that position because they know how important that position is, and they wanted to develop someone talented. If they are high on Cam Ward, like I don't think it should stop the Raiders, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You about to say something?
Now, I was going to say that just the Chiefs, it was so different because the Chiefs were solid everywhere else. So it's like they knew all they needed was a quarterback. The Raiders are like pretty bad everywhere except tight end.
Yeah.
and defensive line. And the one position we think like, okay, we're pretty solid at is at quarterback. So it's like, it's like the inverse.
Man. Yeah. Telesco got fired. Probably. I mean, you could probably say that's why Telesco got fired.
Yeah.
Telesco and an AP is how they address the quarterback position. They from Jimmy G to Minshew. That it is what it is, man. Jack in the building, man. Pharaoh Severe says, the nation, what does everyone think about Gainer getting a shot on off-ball linebacker? I mean, it's a possibility, but it'd be hard to believe because it's a different coaching staff. Maybe he has someone backing him up and maybe like a Patrick Graham and like vouching for him, but it's going to be hard for me to believe if the Raiders don't at least add more talent to compete in that room. But if he wins it at training camp, maybe there's like a position battle and Gainer comes out and win it. That's a possibility, but it'd be strange if like they went into it like, oh, Gainer's gonna be the starter. Like I was like, wow, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
But just pure physical. So I would say this, just purely physical talent. Gainer's probably the most talented, just pure physical talent. He's probably the most talented linebacker we have. Just physical talent. What I will say is this, and I don't want to say Gainer is going to be this guy because we keep talking about Pete Carroll, and I'm sure Pete Carroll is going to have some influence over the defense. But this is Patrick Graham's defense. Like we gotta remember that. I'm sure Pete Carroll I'm sure he's gonna want things run a certain way. But this is Patrick Graham's defense. Even Gus Bradley, right? Bradley ran his defense the way he wanted to run his defense. He ran that cover 3. He's been doing that everywhere he's gone. That's his defense. And when they had a new defensive coordinator in there was some differences in the defense. Oh, was it Dan Quinn? I think Dan Quinn. Like there were some differences there in how they ran the defense. So, like I'm sure Pete Carroll's going to have input, but Patrick Graham's going to be. Everybody knows Pete Carroll. He's a CEO type. He has a defensive background, but he's a CEO type head coach. So he delegates, and he creates the environment, and he creates the synergy, and he lays out the plan and all that stuff. But he lets his coaches coach. So Patrick Graham is going to do most of the coaching. So we got to I think people lose that.
I agree. I do think Patrick Graham is going to do most of the coaching, but I think Pete Carroll is going to have a say on who comes in on who makes it on the roster, who comes on to this team, and it says a lot that the Raiders didn't bring back some of these former starters on defense because Pete Carroll has a say on who was on the Raiders, along with Spytek. I'm sure Patrick Graham has a voice, but I'm like, look, it could only get him so far. I mean, Kuntz came back. They all agreed, like, yeah, Kuntz is a guy that, Spytek is on record to say like how much he values the pass rusher position, and that's the NFL as a whole. But like they didn't bring back Spillane, they didn't bring back Morig, they didn't bring back Nate Hobbs, all like big parts of the Raiders defense. But I agree 100%. Patrick Graham is going to run the defense for sure, but I think Pete Carroll is going to have his influence for sure.
Oh, definitely. But why I said that is to say this, because there's a guy, and I don't want to, because this is lofty expectations. I don't want to say this guy is going to be this player, but if you think about a guy that has kind of a similar skill set or could play a similar role, to Amari Gainer. In Amari Gainer, you think about Bruce Irvin. He's a guy that played off-ball linebacker, also played some pass rusher. We think about Amari Gainer. He's a guy that played some edge, also played some off-ball linebacker. He's a guy that can kind of has that versatility to where he can do those things. I think I think they call it the Leo role or something like that. Like he has the ability to do that. So, and he has the athleticism to do that. So if Pete Carroll, if he sees that role in this particular defense, and him and Patrick Graham, we all know Patrick Graham loves to tinker. You have a great coaching mind like Pete Carroll there, maybe that's a role that they fill in this defense. And if that is a role that they choose to fill in this defense, I think Amari Gainer is a guy that could fit that role seamlessly.
We'll see, man. Hey, man, it's going to be a whole offseason. We'll see how the Raiders address the linebacker position. That's a one of the holes that we kind of see, just because, like, we lost Devon Diablo, however way you want to feel about him. He was a starter on the defense. Spillane is another linebacker. And now I believe they recently signed Orlando Roberts to a deal, former Steelers linebacker. Hopefully the Raiders can have similar success after having success with a former Steelers linebacker in Spillane. We've heard good things, you know what I mean? But for the most part, a lot of people are calling him a 2-down linebacker, kind of how like they called Spillane coming in. But we'll see. We'll see if he can add any value as in the pass game on defense. So we'll see, man. It's gonna be a long offseason. So we'll see how the Raiders address the position. Free agency technically isn't over, but I don't know, any big time deals coming this way. That's pretty much done. It's gonna be a lot of value, cheap deals. We'll be here to talk about it, but right now it's pretty slow. I think they recently signed Zach Carter, D tackle, who actually played for the Raiders in the past. Like, it's not like a new
played
guy,
with us
but
this last year. Yeah.
Right. So former 3rd round pick Zach Carter. He was signed back on the roster. I guess they've seen something in him and they want to bring him back.
Yeah.
But make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Appreciate everybody coming through. Gainer's 236 pounds. Okay. A lot of people co-signing Mason Graham. Glass Jaw Geno says Mason Graham's arms are so short he can't put his hands in his pockets.
Damn.
Man, Glass Jaw Geno, man, you coming in here
fire.
just throwing shots left and right, man.
Facts. Shots fired for real. That's crazy. Oh man.
Oh, I gotta check it out, man, because Steve Smith he does a really good job as far as breaking down wide receivers.
Oh, what did he say?
He says after watching Steve Smith Sr. breakdown, I'm not sure T-Mac's a pick at number 6 overall. So we'll check that out. We definitely check that out.
He is a guy that he's good at breaking down receivers.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's definitely that. But he has kind of been taking shots at the receiver group overall in this draft. Like he said, what did he say? Like players that were undrafted free agents would have got picked this year or something like that.
Third or fourth round picks in this class.
Man, that's wild, man. Man, Kevin White, and he taking all the way back, man. Shout out to Raider Loso, man. He says T-Mac is giving Kevin White vibes. Great versus Texas Cat, but doesn't create separation. Very much a boomer bust product. But Kevin White has some speed to him, though.
Kevin White's biggest problem was his injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kevin White also had some issues with some drops too. Like Tedderell McMillan had some of the best hands in this draft. Like bar none.
Few people in the chat are talking about Jalen Walker as a guy that they would consider at number 6.
No, that's when I couldn't think of the guy that's the guy from Georgia whose name I couldn't think of.
Oh yeah.
Because I kept wanting to say Jalen Carter, but it was Jalen Walker.
Man, but Steve, like how tall is Matthew Golden, man? He's not the biggest guy. I don't know if we want to add another small receiver, but
like 5'11",
I mean, it's Raiders
5'10", 5'11".
But hey, man, he is today's version of what a receiver looks like. They don't have to be big to be successful. Got some speed. He was pretty productive last year with Texas, so
yeah.
And then on top of that, he ran well. So I don't know. That'd be a trade down for sure. I don't know if they would pick him at number 6. Let's see, man. But McMillan comp is St. Brown. For real? I mean, how big is St. Brown? St. Brown is not that big.
Smaller.
Yeah,
St.
smaller.
Smaller.
He's more of a slot guy, right?
He plays outside and plays slot. Amon-Ra? Nah, but yeah, nah. Pound for pound, Amon-Ra St. Brown may be the strongest player in the league. It's pound for pound.
Raiders Rebel says it's been 20 years since the receiver has been picked in the top 10 after running a 4.5. Oh, okay. Nice little fact, NFL fact there, man. Appreciate you, my guy.
In the top 10, it's running 4-5.
Oh, but you're doing too much though with this one. I said we went in on this last week. Around this shit, we went on like you're spelling the next Darius Hayward. I'm sure you're not comparing him,
bro.
As a prospect, but come on, man.
That's ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous take I've ever heard, man. If you want to say like you're smelling like the next bust, or you think he's going to be a bust, but his game is nowhere near that of Darius Hayward-Bays at all.
Yeah. Man, but hey, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, but we're not done yet. We got notable quotables. It's that time where we get into, quotes that we find interesting. And Severe, if you want to go ahead and set up the first quote.
So Noah, let's go with the the second one. Let's go with Phil Yates. Phil Yates, Mike Greenberg, and Mel Kiper. They have a draft show that they talk about. Like they talk about the draft, and they've been doing it this entire offseason. And Phil Yates, I know a lot of people think that hey, maybe Geno Smith is a short-term answer, and Phil Yates, he wanted to pump the brakes on that a little bit.
All right, here we go. And is this one on Shadur or the Geno?
The second one. The second, the Geno one.
I would actually bypass a quarterback at pick number 6 now with having Geno Smith on my roster. And by the way, I fully expect Geno Smith in the Raiders to find middle ground on an extension beyond this year because he currently has just 1 year left on his deal. Now, Geno Smith may be 35 years old, Greedy, but if there is ever such a thing as a quarterback who is 35 with minimal tread on his tires relative to those 35-year-old quarterbacks, Geno Smith would be it, right? He spent about 8 seasons as basically a backup collecting dust from parts of that as Russell Wilson's backup because Russ never missed time in Seattle. A reminder, this is almost a weekly reminder at this point, Pete Carroll will be the oldest head coach in the history of the NFL when he is on the sidelines for week 1 for the Seahawks this upcoming fall. I believe this team is trying to win sooner rather than later in an AFC West that some would say maybe the better plan would be to try to rebuild because of how talented the other 3 teams are with a great head coach and quarterback duo. I think now that Las Vegas is saying, we believe we can make a push, I would actually bypass.
Look, I agree that the Raiders should probably look somewhere else. Obviously, we're getting Geno. But if you remember the scenario that I painted earlier, if Cam Ward is a guy that they highly value, is a top quarterback on their draft board, because every team has a draft board, right? Every team has a big board, right? And the quarterback position is the most important position on a football field. And the answer they have at quarterback is 35 years old. I don't care if he says a lot of tread on tires. Quarterback is not a running back. I don't think you can compare the two unless you want to say like, oh, he hasn't been hurt a lot. And if, other quarterbacks have been banged up and hurt and beat up, I guess maybe you could say that. I think tread really matters on like when we're talking about the running back position. I think that really matters, especially the amount of carries that they take. But for the quarterback position, if a guy like Cam Ward, which like I said, I don't think is going to happen. I think Cam Ward is probably going to go number 1. But if he's there at number 4, I think you go for him. A guy like Shadur, if the Raiders value him and they feel like he's their number 1 quarterback on the board, or he's the number whatever top player on their board, then Shadur should be that guy. But, I don't think the Raiders should trade up for a guy like Shadur just because the ceiling for me ain't there. I don't know if they want to go ahead and do that for a guy, but we've seen crazier things happen. Like if a team is all in on a player, then especially a quarterback position, then you shouldn't be holding back. You should be going after that guy. We've seen it time and time again. But yeah, like Phil Yates said, Raiders should probably take the best player, BPA, Tom Telesco special at number 6. And hopefully it's one of the top guys because, what happens is when some of these teams take quarterbacks, a lot of the top players at certain positions tend to fall and drop, and the Raiders are kind of like prime position, so to speak, like at number 6. I think it's going to be a benefit to the Raiders if they want a player that is non-quarterback if 2 quarterbacks get selected early. Because then they have a high chance of getting a top player.
Yeah.
A top 5 player, a top whatever you want to call it. But what's your take on the quote?
So I mean, I feel what he's saying, right? Geno Smith is not a guy that, you think about just wear and tear on the guy's arm. When you're back up, you're not really throwing, because generally when guys are backups for that long, it's because they aren't good enough. So you never see those renaissance parts of their career later on, because those guys just weren't good enough to ever really be starters in the league. Geno, that's not the case. He just sat on the shelf for such a long time because he was behind a guy that was playing extremely well for all those years. And then he kind of lost out on his opportunity early in his career. Now that he's finally getting an opportunity, doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his throwing arm, hasn't been hit a lot, hasn't had really any considerable injuries to any of his extremities, whether that be his his arms or his legs. So he's a guy that's pretty well preserved at this age, and he's we see from the past 3 years he's still playing at a fairly high level. And you put him in with the offensive coordinator like Chip Kelly, who's going to maximize and accentuate the skill set he already has. I think you can do some things where he plays another 4 or 5 years at a very, very high level, possibly even longer than that. So I think the Raiders are set up pretty comfortably enough where I'm not trading up. I'm not trading up. I mean, I wouldn't trade up in this class. Not at this point, right? If your plan was to make a play for the future, then don't sign Geno Smith. If that's what you're doing, don't sign Geno Smith. Obviously, the Raiders have said, or don't trade for Geno Smith. Obviously, the Raiders have said they're trying to win now. So if your plan is to win now, you've acquired a quarterback you think you can win with. That's why we went after Geno. That's why we didn't go after a younger option, possibly cheaper option in Sam Darnold, because we have more faith that Geno Smith could win now. That's also the reason why you're not putting all your eggs in the draft basket, because there's a very good chance you don't get a quarterback. And even if you do get a young quarterback, there's a very good chance that he's going to go through some growing pains. That's why you don't go out and get a guy like a Justin Fields, because you don't know if he's ever going to develop. So your plan is to win now. So if you got a quarterback you have confidence in that you traded for, knowing that he's going to want $40 to $45 million, and you're going to have to pay that guy, then your plan shouldn't be now I'm going to. It shouldn't be half measures. Either you're building for the future or you're building for the now. And I think when they made the choice to trade for Geno Smith, they put their all their eggs clearly in the I'm going after it right now basket. And if you're putting your eggs in that basket, then in this draft, you have to do things that are going to help you win either now or in the very immediate future.
I see what you're saying. I think the Raiders they made a decision because they're pick number 6. It sucks because they were in a position to probably get a top 3 pick. I don't care what anybody says. Raiders had a terrible season. They deserve to be in the top 3. Like, it was bad. It was bad. You know what I mean? Look at the records of the teams that are like in that top 10. They're pretty much similar. And the Raiders had no business winning some of those games down the stretch. And, it is what it is. When you tell a coach that you gotta win some games in order to keep his job, guess what he's going to do? He's going to win some games so he can keep his job. And what happens is you don't keep the coach, and now the Raiders are at pick number 6, which is not a terrible spot, but it's not a spot that guarantees you get a quarterback. And if it doesn't guarantee you to get a quarterback, then you got to have to find another answer. And a guy like, you hire a coach at 70-something years old. He's not going to be here to see a team like develop, rebuild. Yeah. Like he's here. Of course he's going to say, I want to win now. So of course he's going to want to get a Geno Smith. But a guy like Spytek, if he was being a GM, he's going to have an eye to not towards right now, but also 5 years from now, 4 years from now, 3 years from now. He's going to think down the road. And a guy like hopefully a guy like Tom Brady is supposed to see it an even bigger picture of what the team is supposed to be, not just what it's going to look like now. And I think if a guy like Cam Ward is available at 4, the Raiders are in every right to be like, you know what? This is a guy pretty much near the top of our draft board. He's at the most important position on a football field. We have an answer, a guy that we can add to that quarterback room. We're in a division where literally it's quarterbacks left and right, let alone the AFC. And if we feel like Cam Ward is a guy that we can develop under a Geno Smith, who Tom Brady is on record to say that quarterbacks need to be developed, hey, it can happen. I brought up Patrick Mahomes because he didn't play his first year. He sat behind Alex Smith. A Cam Ward can sit behind a Geno Smith. And then the Raiders can figure it out after that. But I get what you're saying. When you go after a Geno Smith, you're kind of saying that this is our guy. This is a guy, they're going to try to win now. But if somehow, some way, that's all I'm saying. If somehow, some way Cam Ward drops down, then I think the Raiders should have, and they should at least go after a guy that they believe in. If they don't believe in a quarterback class, that's a whole different conversation. Then of course they're not going to be trading up. They should get the best player available at that number 6 spot. But let us know in the chat, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The Geno Smith in your team.
Someone said Geno Smith is no different than Jimmy. What? No different than Jimmy G? No different than Jimmy G? How?
Nah, Jimmy's better. Jimmy's better than Jimmy G.
Geno.
Or Geno is better than Jimmy G.
Yeah, it's not even. Not even comparable.
Right.
But the Raiders have sat there in win now mode. So it's either so you might not think they're in win now mode. That's your opinion. But the GM, the owner, the executive, the head coach, they've all said they're in win now mode. So maybe they're lying, but that's what they've all said. So if they weren't in win now mode, then you don't trade for Geno Smith. Then you just
man. Shout out to OG in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through, my God, man. Hope all is well. Man, that is wild, man. Said eyesight 50% restored. I can see again. I've been blind for a year and a half. That's wild, man. Hopefully, everything goes well, man. That's crazy. But man, my guy OG in the building coming through. Man, bringing it back, man. But yeah, man, we just wanted to. Yeah, that's wild, man. I couldn't even believe it when Jack told me. But shout out to Jack, shout out to OG. We got to get Ray on, man. Every time I think of OG, I'm thinking of Ray, because Ray, OG was the one that would actually played a part. Him, Jack, and OG were all playing a part in me and Ray collabing. But appreciate him coming through. Can't wait to. Coaches can't wait to draft the nastiest O-lineman in the first round. Okay. You think the Raiders go all offensive line? How you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't see that happening. But unless they trade back. If they trade back, I wouldn't hate that. But I mean, right now, I really don't see that happening.
You know what's crazy? I think that like the last. Something has happened unexpectedly in the offseason, whether it's Devontae getting traded, the Raiders drafting Tyree Wilson. No one foresee that. Everyone was talking about, the Raiders are going to get the corner out of Illinois who now plays for Seattle. Or even an offensive lineman in Paris Johnson. No one really seen Tyree Wilson kind of mock to the Raiders. No one really seen that move. Tyree ends up going to the Raiders. And then obviously you fast forward, you got Brock Bowers. No one saw Brock Bowers going to the Raiders. No one predicted that move. So I say all that to say that coach might be on to something, because something we don't expect to happen. We talked about wide receiver, possibly. We talked about corner, but is there a possibility we take an offensive line? if we trade down or even at number 6, we haven't even talked about like a Travis Hunter possibly dropping, which I don't see happening. But there's something unexpected is going to happen. I know something's going to happen just based off the past drafts, past offseason, something that we didn't predict.
I can't. Like I said, it'd have to be a trade down because the Raiders, I mean, unless the organization doesn't have any faith in Colton Miller or they don't want to pay Colton Miller, or if this new regime that comes in, they don't have any faith in DJ Glaze, and they're like, we need a upgraded DJ Glaze. Ideally, you don't draft our weakest spot is probably at guard. Ideally, you don't draft a guard, in the top half of the first round unless there's a generational guy like Quentin Nelson. I don't see one of those guys in this draft. So, if you trade back, maybe that's a realistic possibility, but sitting anywhere in the top 10, 15 even, like I'm not comfortable taking any guard right there. So unless you feel like you want to take a guy like a Simmons from Ohio State or even Calvin Banks or Connerly from Oregon, if you want to take a guy like that and move DJ Glaze inside to guard, maybe if they feel that that's the best fit for him there. But other than that, it's hard for me to see them going tackle. I'm not saying it's not outside of the realm of possibility because, like I said, Colton Miller's going to want to get paid soon. And if they don't feel he's worth the money, then maybe they move off of it. But I think we have more pressing needs, especially, like I said, if they're in win now mode. I think we have more pressing needs.
Yeah. I mean, we do have. I feel like we have somewhat of a young, promising offensive line, but I feel like if the Raiders were to go into next year with this current, they would have to make a big jump. They would have to improve. Like a lot of it is potential, like a Glaze or even the guy we took in the second round last year, who's now the starting center. JPJ. Is Parham a starter? Is he coming back as a starter?
Opinion, I mean, right now he's slated to. I'm sure there's probably be a competition. I'm sure it's going to be a competition between Meredith, Kappa, and Parham. At that point, may the best man win. Right. I think Parham is probably the weak link on the line. So I'm sure they would want to upgrade there. But
so if we're thinking about the offensive line right now, right? So so from left to right, you got Colton Miller, who's going to be the left guard. We got JPJ starting at center. Obviously, Glaze is going to be the right tackle. So really, it's the guard spots where there's like a question mark. Like you don't know. Maybe they did sign Alex Kappa, but he didn't really have. You know what I mean? He really had to have a good recent good year with the Bengals. So I don't know about him. I mean, it looks like Parham, and then it's between Parham, Meredith, and Kappa. Yeah. And the best out of those three to win those two starting spots as of right now. But yeah,
and then maybe maybe they throw. No, well, maybe Thayer has a history of playing guard. Maybe they throw Thayer in there, but in this system where Chip Kelly likes to pull a lot, I'm not sure if he's a fitted guard because he doesn't really have the agility to really to be on the move that often. But if they want to inject some more competition into that room, I mean to that position group, I can see them trying Thayer there.
Oh man, y'all talking about Genty still? Man, just let it go, man. Just let Ashton Genty go, man. Come on, there's other running backs. There's other running backs, man, that you can be just as excited about and how they can contribute to the team. But I get it, man. I just feel like the Raiders. We just talked about how like they got so many holes, man. Like I just don't want us to get a running back in the first round when we got a lot of different needs. But we'll see, man. I think we did a mock draft last week or the week before, and we did a trade down. I think it was last week. We did a trade down and we drafted Genty, and we wanted to show how it looked like. We wanted to trade down, not take Genty at number 6.
Yeah.
and take him. I think did we drop right outside the top 10?
Yeah, something like that.
Right in the top 10. It was something like that. We got a second round pick, maybe another third.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure to check it out, man. But yeah, man, if we get a Genty, then I would like for us to trade down, but I don't know if I would want to. I wouldn't want him to take it at number 6, man. That's a little too high for me. Too high for the Raiders. Way too high for the Raiders.
Especially in this possibly the deepest running back draft of all time, in some people's opinion. So, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
If you're playing chess, yes. If you're, I don't think we need a left tackle, but if you're thinking like we need to draft the replacement for Cole Miller.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like we're in no position to do that right now. we got so many other needs, man. We got so many other needs. But let's move it along, man. Let's actually go to the next notable quotable. Severe, if you want to give the intro.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people in Raider Nation want Shadur Sanders. And I think a lot of those people want Shadur Sanders to want to come to the Raiders. And there has been some report, and where there's been something that's come to my attention that maybe Shadur Sanders doesn't really want to come to the Raiders as much as some people think he does.
I talked to you about 2 other teams that he met with. Right. Their responses were, it didn't seem like Shadur cared a whole heck of a lot compared to every other prospect that's coming in here about what we thought of him. Right. And so you start to think about it like, so is it, we know we'd love to go 1 to Tennessee. If Cleveland's on that list, I've only heard reports that the Giants could be on that list of teams that are acceptable too. And so that's interesting. Right? Mm-hmm. Because that part's important. We've been talking about this since like October. Shadur's in control. And by control, it's not like I'm going to pluck him on one team. It's there are some organizations my son's not going to go play for. Right? And I can tell you this. I'm never going to reveal who those 2 people were or the organizations they work for or anything more than I revealed in the McShay report. But I will reveal this. Those 2 members were not from the Cleveland Browns. I talked to you about.
Oh man, I was gonna say something, but that'd be too real for YouTube. But I just like how you said, well, I'm not gonna reveal the 2 teams, and I'm gonna let you go and break down your theory on what the situation is with Shadur and the Raiders. But it's just funny how he just says, I'm not gonna reveal the 2 people that told me about what they said about Shadur. I'm not going to tell you the 2 teams that they're from, the organization they work for. But I'll tell you that it's not the Browns. And then you're going to go on and break it down. Go ahead. I thought that was funny.
So I think we covered it on this show previously, and it was been talked about, in the media writ large that there are 2 teams, and when they talked about it, they were very specific in the language they used. There are two quarterback needy teams in the top 7. Those were their exact words. 2 quarterback needy teams in the top 7 that said they had meetings or interviews with Shadur. The interviews did not go well, and it seems like Shadur didn't care whether or not those teams drafted him, or really didn't care what what impression he left on those teams. That was the report, right? Everybody, I'm sure hopefully everybody remembers that. Todd McShay talked about it. I think Phil Yates talked about it. Josina Anderson had a whole tweet screed talking about it, basically calling out one of the organizations for pulling that out there. And then we just heard Todd McShay say himself, he heard directly from 2 teams saying that same thing. Now, also in the course of this discussion, and people were speculating who those teams were. I think people automatically assumed one of them was the Jets, because they said top 7 and the Jets are sitting at 7, so that they kind of guessed it was the Jets. But the other team people were kind of left room to speculate about, right? Some people thought maybe it was the Titans, so he didn't want to go to that situation. Some people thought maybe it was the Browns because he didn't want to go to that situation. Some people said, hey, maybe it was the Giants because, like he didn't want to end up in the Giants with a potential lame duck coach. And, Brian Dable could, potentially be out the very next year. There's a lot of speculation. The one team that people never really speculated on was the Raiders. Why? Because Shadur, he has a relationship with Tom Brady, and he's been low-key been playing footsie with the Raiders, for a little while now. But if you listen to the report that Todd McShay just said, he said he talked directly to the two teams that said that Shadur didn't care if he played for them or not. And that same soundbite we just heard, he said that Shadur wants to go number 1 overall. So that obviously eliminates the Tennessee Titans from those two teams, right? Because if he's saying Shadur wants to go number 1 overall, obviously he's going to leave. He's going to do his best to leave the best impression on the team that's picking number 1 overall. He flat out said the other team was not the Browns. He said unequivocally, it is not the Browns. And he also said that of the list of teams that Shadur is okay with going to, that he's hearing that the Giants are on that list as well. So that basically eliminates the Giants. So if you look at quarterback needy teams in the top 7, who are left? The Raiders and the Jets. So it leads me to believe that either Shadur tanked his meeting with the Raiders and the Jets, or that the Raiders and the Jets are purposely putting it out there that he had a bad meeting, or were putting out there that he had a bad meeting with them in order to hurt his draft stock. One of the two.
Gotta clap it up for Severe for breaking that down. Yeah, man, I can see what you're saying. You're connecting the dots, Todd McShay, because that's what I thought it was funny, is because he's like, I'm not gonna reveal this, but if you talk long enough, you talk enough, you're probably gonna eventually say who it is.
Gonna reveal it.
He's gonna reveal it, right? And you were paying attention, and you kind of broke it down and who he was connected to. The only thing is that, like, it's because it's interesting because, like, all right, look, I said earlier that teams and players like to use the Raiders. So does this go back to when I was saying that maybe Shadur possibly is using the Raiders just to put his name out there, just so he can get his name out there, because they know how to use the media.
Oh,
you know, Dion, he's well educated from Dion, his dad who played for all those years and been in the media himself, so he knows how it works. So is it him just trying to, like, all right, it's nothing wrong to be connected with a team if it has your name just out there, and I guess that's what they want, right? But I don't know, man. I think the Raiders would be interested in Shadur. I think there's a possibility that they'd be interested. I think, in my opinion, at number 6, because your point is that Shadur is not interested in coming to the Raiders. I don't know, man.
That was the impression that these teams said he had given them. But see, no, what's another interesting point, right? And I didn't
crazy.
even.
He takes a picture with Geno. He does all these things to, like.
Yeah, but he's doing. But that's what I said earlier. He's playing the media. He's playing the media game perfectly because he's keeping the conversation on Shadur. He's bringing the conversation back. When he did the thing earlier with the giant, the colored cleats that are the colors of the Giants. Oh, this is the team that's going to draft me. He had the red and the blue cleats. And then he had the thing where he was autographing the Raiders color cleats. And he said, shout out to the Raiders. And then, like I said, he had the whole thing with Cam Ward and, hey, Pete Carroll, he wants me. Then he had the thing where he said, oh, I'll only play with the Browns. Like, the people that play for the Browns don't play with the Browns on Madden. Why are you saying that you only play with the Browns on Madden, right? So that lets me know that he's trying to control the narrative around himself. But another thing, I didn't even connect this dot, right? Another thing, around this same time, what did we hear? I think I want to. Matter of fact, I want to say you sent me the quote about it, right? We was talking about Tom Brady, and we were talking or the Raiders. People were saying, the Raiders are going to draft Shadur because Tom Brady has a relationship with them. And I think it was it Brian Hoyer or somebody that's close to Tom Brady was like, Tom Brady is cutthroat. He doesn't care how, he's all about winning. He doesn't care about what relationship he has with you or what friendship he has with you. Like, all that stuff is separate on when it comes to the field, right? And when it comes to the field, he only cares about winning. So just because he's close with Shadur Sanders off the field and he acts as a mentor to him or whatever off the field, that's not going to affect what decisions he makes with the football team. And right. I think that the same could be said about Shadur Sanders. Hey, you know what? I love you, Tom. You're being a great mentor to me. I had an NIL deal with TB12. All that is well and good. But if I don't think the Raiders are the best situation for me and my career, and judging from how you guys have handled quarterbacks since Ken Stabler, obviously I'm not. You can't draft a guy and develop him and turn him into a great player. I think I should take my talents elsewhere, and I'm going to do what I need to do to push myself to get drafted elsewhere. So like that's a two-way street. So Tom Brady can have that attitude where, hey, this is personal, and when I'm doing with the Raiders is business, and Shadur could have that same attitude where, hey, you know what? Our mentorship and our relationship, that's personal, but what I do with my football career and where I'm quarterbacking, that's business. And I'm perfectly fine with making sure there's a clear delineation between the two, and I keep them separate for as long as I can.
Daniel Kim says, I think it's the latter. Trying to get Sanders to drop in the draft instead of paying to go up and get him. It's line season. That could be a possibility.
That's a possibility. I mean, teams did it to CJ Stroud with the S2 test.
Right. And it's smoke season. You know what I mean? All the way up into the draft. It's smoke season. So there's going to be a lot of noise. There's going to be a lot of talk. But at the end of the day, we'll find out the truth during draft day. But you know what? We talked about this before the show, and the Browns, recently had like an issue with the player wanting to get traded, and that was Myles Garrett. Now, when I say issue, I mean he had a whole, like, he went into his computer, went on Microsoft Word, typed it up, put his signature on it, to made it look nice and professional. And he sends it to the Browns, he puts it all over social media, pretty much announcing that he would like to be traded, thanking the fans, and yada, yada, yada. He didn't want to have no part with the Browns. And it had nothing to do, well, maybe had a little bit to do with money, possibly. But the main point that he was making, he wanted to win. He wanted to win. Fast forward, the rest is history, man. He ends up signing a contract, a huge contract extension. But what changed? There was reports saying that the veterans in the locker room for the Cleveland Browns had a problem with the quarterback position. Watson and just the quarterback position overall. What changed? Yeah. The Browns picked number 2. So I'm sure that the Browns most likely assured Myles Garrett that they're going to pick a quarterback. So I think Shadur probably is going to go number 2. Or Cam Ward. Who knows? Either Cam or Shadur.
Yeah. And that's what I didn't mention is that, there was Myles Garrett was on with some of the media in Cleveland, and they were asking him essentially, hey, you know what, like what changed your mind? What made you want to stay? And one of the things he said was, the Browns have a plan at quarterback, and I feel very comfortable we'll be able to, get the position in order. We'll be able to get the right guy in the position. It's something to that effect. They're basically intimating that they're either going to acquire somebody via free agency or they're going to acquire somebody via the draft. Now, they're in a much better position, to acquire somebody via the draft, especially if they feel that Shadur Sanders is the right quarterback for their franchise.
Right, man. Salute to Raider Way. Salute to East Coast Gridiron in the building. He says, here's my take. The people that say Shadur is terrible or not NFL people or not an NFL QB are wrong. I think he's Mason Rudolph. Sheesh.
That's barely an NFL quarterback. That's not too far. That's like
Oh man, speaking of Myles Garrett, didn't Myles Garrett like knock him out one time during that football? he swung, it was something crazy.
Yeah, swung him at it because I think Mason Rudolph called him the N-word, and Myles Garrett swung on him with the helmet.
Oh damn, shit, damn, that's crazy. Wow. But he says, but those overhyping him are wrong too. He's an okay QB. My guy, East Coast, man. We'll see how it shakes out, man. I think Shadur goes in the first, man. I think he gets drafted in the first round. I think he goes early. But I mean, hey, man, my guy East Coast, man, he breaks down film like no other. So make sure to check him out. East Coast Gridiron .net as well as YouTube channel, man. Make sure to check him out, man. Hopefully we'll have him on soon too as well, man. Let's do that again, man.
If you're still in here, East Coast Gridiron, in the chat, give us your thoughts on Tetherell. I think people are kind of all over the place on Tetherell. Some people are like, oh, he's Darius Hayward Bay.
Yeah, man. Raider Nation right now is taking shots at McMillan just because he's not gonna run a 4.2, 4.3. Obviously, they're used to Raiders drafting the fastest receiver in the draft and yada yada yada. But yeah, let us know, man. Let us know in the chat what you think about T-Mac. Kevin says, if you're not lying, you're not trying. Nate,
Right.
Yeah, facts. Jesse, they told Garrett they're taking Sanders' award. Yeah, for sure. That's what changed. I'm sure they assured him like they're going to correct that quarterback position. And obviously, money talks, right? So you got a huge deal, but on top of him getting reassured that they're going to address that quarterback position. So, and I think you had, we were short on time, but I think there was a quote from Myles Garrett.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, where he basically said, he's confident that they'll be able to get the guy that they want at quarterback, or get the guy to fill that position, something to that effect. Yeah.
Freshie says Raiders' best bet is to do what the Falcons did in regards to current QBs. That's what I'm saying. They got to be aggressive. But within reason, though. I painted a scenario, and that's like, to me, that's like the best. That's like, I don't want to say best case scenario, but I'm just saying, like, if the quarterback is there at number 4, then, or 5, however way you want to paint the picture, then I could see a trade up. That would make sense. But if it's in the top 3, it's gonna be too much. But we did a mock draft and we tried to trade up, and it was literally impossible.
Facts.
from number 6, we literally gave every pick and
entire draft.
Exactly. So imagine what it would look like when quarterback needy teams are gonna trade away their top pick with the quarterback on the board. Like it's gonna be tough.
So we have her from East Coast Gridiron. That's a good Derek Mason. That's an interesting one. Okay, so ECG put it up there for us.
Let's see.
It's a bold claim too. He's the only.
Kelvin Benjamin. Damn, that's wild. Kelvin Benjamin was super slow, man. That's
people saying DHB, like come on, Darius Hayward Bay.
Ooh, Derek Mason. He played for the Ravens all them years.
I think
right?
He played for the Titans too.
Oh no, he played the Titans. He played Titans. That's when he was.
I think he finished his career with the Ravens though.
Yeah, he finished
with the Titans. With the Titans, I mean, I think he finished his career with the Titans. With the Ravens, I'd rather. Yeah, he started with the Titans and he finished
with the Ravens.
Yeah, he finished it with the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. He's the only generational player in this draft. He's a can't miss pick. Wow. Shoo. Okay, the only generational player in this draft. Man. So what's your take on like you're probably not big on Travis Hunter then. Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter.
He doesn't like Abdul Carter. What he likes
we gotta get East Coast back on here, man, to break it down for us, man. Shout out to
What's
East
my
Coast.
guy Azariah? He just did a sliders on him too. And I just watched this dang sliders on a guy and I can't think of the guy's name. The pass rusher. I forget his name. But he doesn't like Abdul Carter because Abdul doesn't play the run.
Okay. Ted's great after the catch for a 6'5" guy. I don't agree with people just calling him a jump ball guy, but the issue with him at most is his production is from the slot, which I see the Bowers prime role. Okay. You feel like
Donovan as a rookie.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Shout out to Raider Alex pulling up his word. What worries me about T-Mac is his ability to consistently create separation, but he got great hands, though. Okay.
This dude is, yeah.
We'll see. You know what's crazy? That we haven't seen? Like, damn, that's how you know, like, he's an exception to the rule. Like an Anquan Bolden type player. I don't think we've seen a player like that in the NFL since Bolden. Like, how he can just... Alshon Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Nah. Bolden manhandled. He was like a...
Bro, do you forget Alshon Jeffrey? You forget what Alshon Jeffrey was doing to people?
But Alshon Jeffrey was more of like a 6'4", kind of like, jump ball guy. You could throw him deep, and he'll be able to get come down to football. I mean, he was there.
He was slow though. That's the problem. He was slow. He was one of those guys that like people said he couldn't separate, but he just had long arms and massive hands. He was just 50-50 ball you all day.
But Bolden was a whole different problem, man. Like he would manhandle the corner, man. I don't know. He was just he was a monster.
He's definitely a monster.
East Coast says I was so mad people just projecting on T-Mac, not watching him actually play. That almost said a super cut of everything he got. He got separation over the last 2 seasons because people okay. All right, man. Hey, man, East Coast, man. He's vouching for T-Mac, man.
Yeah,
he's vouching for T-Mac for sure.
I'm not telling everybody who I see, like all the I don't want to group ECG in this same community because he has his own takes as we've seen. He has his own opinions. He watches the film. He breaks it down and he formulates his own thoughts on his own evaluations on these guys. So, but like all the people who are that I've watched it in the film, all the people I respect in the film community, they all say like Teteroa is like generational. There's like, man, of the recent receivers that come out, he's like probably behind Neighbors and Marvin Harrison. Well, depending on how you feel about Marvin Harrison Jr. Some people don't. Some people love him. Some people didn't. But he's like right behind those guys. Like it's Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Teteroa. Like that's the kind of guy he is. Like they all say can't miss. He's going to dominate the league. And it's people, other people are like, oh well, some people I don't know, or yeah. Like I don't think people have a difficult time projecting him to the league.
Big Lil Bosco's last point on Genty, even though he's a running back, he is better at his position than any other prospect mocked to us. Hey man, Bosco is he's pushing back, man, on that narrative of there's only one generational player. Protect the Shield is also saying there's more. Hey ECG man, we got to get you on here, man, to protect your to get back at some of these people, man. They over here. They fighting back, man.
My guy Chris don't like Teteroa. That's why he going after. He don't like Teteroa. He don't like Teteroa.
Okay,
Teteroa's that dude, man. Teteroa is that dude.
I don't know. Debo's a whole different. He was like a running back at receiver. Anquan was a whole different animal, man. Like he literally manhandled any corner that was guarding him. Like. The ball's in the air, he's coming down with it. And I'm not talking about like...
But you don't remember Alshon. You don't remember. That's why I know you don't remember Alshon.
I just feel like
you don't remember Alshon. You don't remember Alshon. That's how Alshon played, bro.
Yeah, but I felt like Alshon was more a downfield threat than Anquan was.
No, bro, no, you don't remember Alshon. That's what I'm saying. You don't remember Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon was not a downfield threat. He's not a downfield threat, bro. He was a big body catch, like long arm catch. He was slow receiver. That was his like his knot. Was he was slow,
bro. Nah, he was like what 6'4". I think.
Yeah, but that's my point. He was just out physicaling dudes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I felt like Anquan. I guess you could compare him in some ways, but I'm just saying I felt like Anquan was a different player than Alshon Jeffrey. That's just my opinion on it.
He's different. I mean, stylistically, I think Alshon was better at the catch point. He was better at high pointing the ball, but like in terms of just out physicaling dudes, like that was Alshon's game. Just like, bro, I'm about to box you out physical you, jump up, catch the ball. Like that's what he did.
Right. Shout out to Ruben Russ, man. He says T-Mac gets separation. Let me get you a little shout out, bro. Appreciate the super chat. He says T-Mac gets separation. I don't know where that narrative started that he doesn't separate. The missed tackle rate and yak yards lets you know he can accelerate. He moves fluid and has great hands. All right, man. Appreciate the super chat, man. He's letting you know, man. T-Mac is that guy. Man. I mean, I don't understand why people are I think people are doing that for clicks though. Like the DHB, man. Come on, man. That's too far. That's too far, bro.
Man, thank you. Big little Bosco. Anquan was a linebacker. Yeah, man. In fact, he was. Anquan.
That's what I'm saying.
Anquan was a bully.
Exactly,
but
bro.
Stylistically,
that's what I mean. Stylistically, he was a different player. Nah,
I'm telling you, watch Alshon, bro. Watch Alshon Jeffrey. He's the same way.
I'm not saying that he didn't do certain things to. I mean, he obviously I said he was a jump ball receiver. He went up and got it over certain players. But what I'm saying is that Anquan was a whole different player. I think Bosco probably said it best. You said Bosco said that? He said a linebacker with hands? Exactly.
No, it was linebacker with hands, yeah.
Yeah, man. Anquan Boldin was a problem for defenders every year he played, man. Like the way it just felt like he was stronger than anybody that was guarding him. Like it wasn't even close.
T-Mac. But think about it. Anquan also was playing like Alshon Jeffrey was the number one receiver on that team, and Anquan was after his second, third year they got Larry, so he was the number two. So he put up numbers before Larry got there.
Anquan, he came in. He put up numbers before Larry got there. He came in like. But you could say like Larry Fitz probably took over that number one spot, but Anquan came in like. I mean,
you can't say Larry Fitzgerald definitely took over the number one spot, but I'm saying like Alshon's problem was he didn't have longevity, and part of the problem with not having longevity is that like you're getting all the attention. Yeah, he had a short prime, and he's getting all the attention. Like if he had a guy to take some of the attention away from him, a la Larry Fitzgerald, like he's still. I don't think he's not as good. It's still not as good as Anquan. But he would have had a better career.
I don't know, man. I feel like Anquan was a number one. Felt like he was a number one. I think he was a number one. He could have been a number one on other teams. He probably wasn't a number one with Larry Fitzgerald there, but Anquan Boldin could have been a number one on the Raiders easy for years.
Oh yeah, at that time we was like, it was trash, bro.
He could have been a number one on a lot of different teams. He could have been a number one on a lot of different teams.
Alshon was the number one for the Bears though.
And what was he for the Eagles? Was he the number one for the Eagles? He played for the Eagles, right?
He played for the Eagles, yeah. But that was after he was basically already done at that point. He was like done.
And a lot of his success was with Jay Cutler. Was it Jay Cutler at quarterback? Was it Cutler throwing them bombs?
It was before. I think he was having maybe with Cutler. I thought he was having success with Cal Orton. I think he was killing with Cal Orton and Royce Grossman, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong though.
I ain't gonna lie, that was nasty quarterbacks. But man, shout out to Below Zero, man. My guy, man. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate the super chat. My guy, East Coast Gridiron in the building. He says, next show, bring the film with me. We can squash some narratives of whoever. Hey, facts. We gonna have you on soon, man. Hey, we'll have to make that soon. It's gonna be a special occasion when we get East Coast breaking down film. Facts.
Always a special occasion.
Hey, you know what? I think. Hey, with all this T-Mac hate, for some reason, I want to call it hate, but like a little bit of like, just people are questioning.
Des Bryant is a good one. Des Bryant is a good one. I don't think Des Bryant quite as physical, but that's a good one too, though.
What do you mean, like as like stylistically?
Yeah, that's a good one. He's a physical. I don't think he was quite as physical. Like Alshon, not quite as physical as Anquan. Like it's degrees to it, but they were both like bullies out there.
Nah,
that really
Anquan was like physical, and he had a longer career than all of them.
Oh yeah.
Dez,
Like I said, part of
had
that
a short prime. Alshon had a short prime.
But like I said, that's part of that is having Larry there.
Nah, even with the Niners, he was good. Even with the Niners, he was good. He wasn't as good as he was with the Cardinals, but Anquan played for the Ravens. He played for the Ravens. Did he play for the Niners? No, hold on. Did he play for the Niners?
I don't remember playing for the Niners. But I'm saying part of that longevity is that you have a guy taking some of the pressure off of you. That helps extend your career.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you, but yeah, man, hey, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Actually, man, my guy, East Coast, we're gonna have you on, bro. And I think the number one, I think we should probably get T-Mac. And what's another guy? I feel T-Mac is probably the number one guy that we feel like we should. What would be another prospect that you should break down?
Let him bring whoever his favorite running back is. His favorite running back that he thinks will be there in the second, third.
I already know who it's gonna be.
It's Dylan Sampson, probably.
It's Dylan Sampson.
I know he loves Dylan Sampson.
I think he's big on Hampton too. Omari Hampton.
Yeah, Hampton, but I don't think Hampton's gonna be there in the second though. That's the thing. I don't think Hampton's gonna be there in the second.
Yeah, that'd be good. Break down your favorite running back, and then also break down T-Mac. That'd be good. Ooh, Derek has a good one. Yeah, Michigan corner. Yeah, Will Johnson. That'd be a nice little breakdown. Will Johnson.
Oh, no, what? I want to Tyleek. Bring Ty. People don't know about Tyleek Williams. Do Tyleek.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right, man. Hey, man. People are asking for Will Johnson, Tyleek. Oh, he said yes, sir.
Tyleek,
we gonna have to do that,
bro.
Man.
Bro, you watch the film on Tyleek. You watch the film on Tyleek. You be like, this dude ain't no way in the world. This dude is 330 pounds, bro. This dude is 330 pounds, moving like that. Ain't no way in the world he's 330 pounds. Like, it's crazy. It is crazy. Like, a band that big should not be moving that fast. It's crazy.
Man, we got another one, man. My guy with the super chat. Ruben in the building, man. Appreciate you again supporting the show. It says, if not Genty or Tet, who are your top options? Will Johnson, injury concerns. Mason Graham is the same player as Wilk. I'd take Membu to shore up the offensive line. You sound like Coach. Early in the chat, Coach was talking about offensive line. I'd rather go T-Mac. I'd rather go wide receiver over running back Genty at number 6.
He's saying if not those guys, who?
Oh, if not those guys. Will Johnson got injury concerns. Does he? Is that why there's a concern about him dropping? I was wondering, why is he going?
Yeah.
Why is he dropping?
He hurt himself. I forgot what he hurt himself late in the year, but then he just I think he just had a hamstring not that long ago.
Yeah.
I think he hurt his hamstring rehabbing.
I mean, it feels like the Raiders should trade down, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm not taking Membu at 6. I'm damn sure not taking Membu at 6. I'll trade down and take him to maybe the teens. But I low key I like Connerly. Do I like Connerly better than Membu? I'll probably like Connerly almost as much as Membu, to be honest with you. I like Simmons better than I like Membu. So I'm not taking Membu top 10, to be honest with you.
Coach said, did I hear 330 pounds?
Yes.
Because earlier,
yes, you did.
Earlier, he said he didn't like was it Meredith because he was only 300 pounds, I guess.
Yeah, but Tyleek plays D tackle though, so he's a true he can be a true gap eater nose, but that dude, I'm telling you, this dude moves. I was watching this dude. I'm like, okay, man, this dude is good. Okay, let me check this dude out. This dude, he had 3 technique. He probably 290. This dude was 300, and I think he was listed at 336. I'm like, God, ain't no way in the world this dude is moving like that at 330. No way in the world. It's impossible.
But Ruben, shout out to, I think Bosco said it earlier in the chat, and I've been hearing this a lot. A lot of the smoke about Raiders picking number 6, it could be them trying to have someone trade up. It's a possibility that they're doing that to, like, maybe a Dallas Cowboys trade up to 6 to get a Genti. I don't know why they would do that, but maybe they want to shore up that offense. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But it's a lot of smoke, and usually we talked about earlier in the show. We talked about, like, it's a lot of smoke around this time of year. So maybe it's a possibility that the Raiders trade down, and then we get our player of the future, man. But man, appreciate you supporting the show. Man, Below Zero says y'all draft board sounding like the New Orleans draft board. We all mentioned most of the same kids. Love the chat, fam, man. Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, man.
You,
if the Saints want to trade up, man, hey, it's for sale, man. I mean, I'm not the decision maker for the Raiders, but hopefully, if y'all want to trade up, man, go ahead and trade. Hold up, where did the Saints pick this year? Did they pick in the top 10?
Yeah, they pick. Oh, 8.
Let me check Tankathon real quick.
The Jets are at 7. Or the Saints at
number 9? They're at 9.
9. Okay, 9.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, man. If the Jets want to give up a second round pick, at least second, and throw in a third, the Raiders should do business with the Saints, because that's literally dropping only like 3 spots. I like that. And then I bet you there's going to be a player that some team is going to want dropping out of the top 5, or maybe they're trying to get their hands on a Genti or whoever. You know what I mean? Pause.
Salute to my guy Chris, protect the shield. I didn't see him walk down that Penn State running back. I saw him getting bullied though, getting his lunch money. I'm messing with you.
Oh, Sabular says Will Johnson got T-Rex arms too. Oh man.
Do we?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know about that. I have to look into that.
Hold on. Let's actually look this up real quick.
I have to look into that.
Let's see. That sounds like because I know Pete Carroll wants a certain type of cornerback. Let's see. He's at about 30 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, so you do got short arms.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
He's 6'2". He's 6'2". Let me see.
Yeah.
What did he jump? No, he didn't. Let me see his. No, I don't think he tested. He's hurt right now, huh?
He was hurt.
He can't. So he can't even test.
No, he can't test.
Damn. I mean, he got the height, he got the size, but the arms are short though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. That's shorter than you would like.
Right. And hey, you know what? A guy like Pete could be like, you know what? I can get a guy in the later rounds and develop him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's done it in the past with with Seattle. I mean, one of their starters in Seattle was drafted while he was there. Tariq.
I'm looking at Devin Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon had 31 inch arm, so it's not.
Oh, okay. Okay,
it's not
it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah, it's not the same as when you look at tackles. Yeah, look, you're talking about Tyleek. Tyleek is I'm telling you, bro. I don't know if Coach just now getting on a Tyleek, but yeah, bro, Tyleek is a dog, man. Dog.
Man, Louis Berry says I'm trading down from Membu. Simmons, my fave. Unfortunately, he's injured. Josh Connerly, East Coast says destroyed Abdul Carr. Just watched the film the other day.
I'm telling you, man. Josh Connerly is a dog, man. He's crazy. He's a dog, man. He's a dog.
Where are you projecting Tyleek?
Hopefully, I mean,
what round?
He could go late first, early second, but it just depends on how people feel about obviously where Mason Graham goes, and Nolan, and then Kenneth Grant, and how they feel about those guys, because but after Mason Graham, those guys can be somewhat interchangeable depending on how teams feel about them. I personally have Tyleek right after Mason Graham, but I don't know how NFL teams will how they'll evaluate them. So, how they'll stack those guys up.
Okay. King Ray says Panthers at 8. Hey, man, if y'all want to trade up, man, I'm sure the Raiders are going to have it. So y'all just got to be willing to give up at least a second. Give us a second and a third, man. We good, man. I would think so.
Oh,
I think the Raiders
ECG says 3 or 4. Ooh, man.
Who?
East Coast Gridiron said Tyleek, third or fourth round 3 or 4. I'd hop on that. Round 3, I'd be all over that.
Oh, okay. Run stopper?
He's more than a run stopper. That's what he excels at, stopping the run. But I'm telling you, with his movement skills, he offers some pass rush as well.
Bro, Tyleek is a master.
I'm telling you, bro. Like I said, I don't know if Coach just got on. That dude is different, man. That dude is different.
Hey, man, if you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Let's move along, man. We got what's real, what's not. This is where we say a statement. You let us know if it's real or it's not. And let me go ahead and read off the first what's real, what's not. And pretty much with this being regarded as possibly the best running back class ever, and T-Mac being touted by by many as an elite wide receiver prospect, it is more likely than a non-quarterback wins the Offensive Rookie of the Year award than any other quarterbacks in this class. Is that real or is that not? So I'm gonna repeat this again. With this being the best running back class ever, and T-Mac being considered an elite wide receiver prospect, it's more than likely a non-quarterback wins the Offensive Rookie of the Year award than any other quarterbacks in this class. Is that real or not? I'm going to say, you know what? I think this is the year. I think this is the year where a offensive rookie not being a QB wins that award. Because there's a possibility that, none of the quarterbacks start. It's possible. It's possible. There, obviously some of these, if they go early, like if they go to the Giants or the Browns, then you could probably, Tennessee might end up starting them. But that being said, T-Mac can go to a good situation, get his numbers. The running backs really don't need time to really be productive. They can easily just hit the ground running, especially depending on the team that they go to. So I think, in my opinion, I think that it's real. 100% real, man. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I agree, because the only real possibility, essentially, it's a two-man. It's, Cam and Shadur are the only real true possibilities. And then after that, you got to think about Teteroa could win it. Genty could conceivably win it, or Brian Hampton can win it. I just saw Maurice Jones-Drew. He dropped his running back rankings. He has Travion as the number 2 running back in his class. I think Todd McShay has Travion as the number 3 back in his class, so he's a guy that can win it. Judkins is a guy that can win it. So there's a if it's these 2 quarterbacks or the field, I'm definitely taking the field. So I'm going to say that's a real statement.
We the people says no. He thinks quarterback. Do you think quarterback or not? Man, the chat is not real. King Ray says not real. So you think a quarterback is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year?
He probably has high faith in Cam.
Okay. Bosco saying it's real. Okay. Shout out to Bosco. We the people, I'm assuming, yup, real. Okay. Let's see, man. Genty.
I ain't sleeping on Dart, King Ray. I'm not sleeping on Dart at all. I just don't think he goes to a team where he starts immediately.
OJ Raider says Genty Rookie of the Year breaks Raiders all-time rushing record and touchdown record. Okay, hey man, he believes it's real. That means he believes it's real. So a lot of people, for the most part, everybody's thinking that it's real. So I agree, man. I don't think, because even the quarterbacks, they're not going to go to an extremely good situation. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to be impactful, but we'll see, man. This is the era of young QBs kind of hitting the ground running. We've seen QBs come in and be productive. Maybe one of these QBs is productive and then they win that award. But I just feel like, man, there's so many good running backs, and I feel like they're going to go, especially the Raiders. Raiders. There might be a really good chance that the offensive rookie plays for the Raiders because we're going to be dependent on them highly, whether it's wide receiver or running back.
Yeah, if it's a receiver, they got no chance because Brock Bowers is going to destroy every record this year. It's with a good quarterback, or Brock Bowers is about to go.
Hey, remember what I said about Brock Bowers? Because I remember we had a conversation last season, and I'm like, hey, because you were saying that the reason why Brock Bowers was having a greater season is because there's also not a lot of people that they're throwing it to. So do you think that? Yeah. Do you think that he can break or top his year? Because he's 21 years old. 21 years old, doing it with AOC, who you said is trash, and Minshew trash, and now you're gonna give him an upgrade at quarterback, Geno Smith, upgrade offensive coordinator, and Chip Kelly. You would hope maybe you can argue that maybe Chip Kelly doesn't have like the most prolific passing scheme, but running scheme is a strength. So maybe I don't know. Maybe that
people like to say that, but it's better than when people give him credit for it. And I've seen it up close for several years. So people say that like he's very creative. He just his running. He doesn't have to pass a lot because his running game is so good. I think his numbers come down. Just by virtue of it was a perfect storm last year for Brock, and so far as that, we got rid of Devontae early, Jacoby was hurt, we couldn't run the ball, and so he was essentially the only show in town. So I think that's part of it, and but he's supremely talented, so he's a guy that should get a large share of the targets. He should be the primary, like he should be the number one option on just about every play. But I just think that if you just add in like a slightly better running game, that alone is going to shorten the game. And then if you add another competent receiver, like that's going to take away some targets from him as well. And I don't imagine this being like some high flying like super run up the score type offense. So I think it's going to be hard for him to duplicate what he did last year. I still think he's going to have an awesome season, but I don't know if he'll duplicate what he did last year. And I feel the same way about like Malik Nabers. I don't know if Malik Nabers is able to, Malik Nabers may, just because he missed 2 games. So there's like the potential 2 extra games there. But I'm not sure if Malik Nabers duplicates what he did last year either.
Well, hey, look, I think it might not happen next season. It's possible that it might happen next season, second year. Sometimes, players can also struggle in their second year just because, teams are going to adjust to them. They're going to have a whole year of tape on them, and there's going to be a whole lot of tension on Brock Bowers. So he's going to have to adjust to that. But what I'm betting on is the fact that he's 21 years old, and he's already figured out how he can get open and be productive like that. He is right. You know how much confidence he's probably gonna be playing with? Like his confidence through the roof. So now like he's probably gonna hit a wall at some point where he's gonna have to adjust to how the teams adjust to him. But man, the sky's the limit because his talent transcends whoever's back there at quarterback. He's already proven that. So now like if you improve the pieces around him, I think he's gonna be put. I don't know. The sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
Like I said, it's not so much as he can be a better player and still not have as good of results if you know what I'm saying, because it's all at that point it's all a numbers game. Like he's not going to get as many targets if the Raiders are able to run, which you have Chip Kelly as an offensive coordinator. 9 times out of 10 you're going to be able to run the ball. So like the Raiders they're not going to have the absolute run. Oh, and that brings us to our next point. But they're not going to have the absolute rushing offense in the league anymore. Even if they're middle of the pack, that shortens the game and it takes away several targets from Brock Bowers per game. So I think Chip Kelly on the flip side, I think Chip Kelly will do some creative things where it'll be some plays where Brock Bowers is running wide open. And you'll be wondering, like, how the hell is the best player on the field running wide open? where he'll get some easy ones. But I think, like I said, he'll also get less targets per game, and the Raiders are going to be running the ball a lot more.
Okay, so I guess you kind of was trying to segue to this. So this is the second "what's real, what's not" statement. Geno Smith will rush for more yards this year than any of our running backs did last year. Is that real or is it not? So Geno Smith will rush for more yards this year than any of our running backs did last year. So who was our leading rusher last year?
It was, I think it was Alexander Madison with 420 yards.
Nah, I'm gonna say that's not real. I don't look at Geno as. I'm not saying that Geno can't move. I look at him as a pocket passer. I don't look at him as like a guy that like wants to get out there and run for the
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna run for 400 yards. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that's not real because I feel like Geno's more of a pocket passer. But it's close though. It's close.
His first year in Seattle, he ran for 370.
Ooh.
So his first year, that was his year with Pete Carroll and with Shane Waldron, who was kind of a younger, like but people thought he was creative offensive mind until he got to Chicago and he kind of laid the egg. But I'm gonna say it's real.
What did he do last year?
He didn't run that much last year. But last year, he was a different. It was Mike McDaniels as his head coach. It was a different offensive coordinator too.
His first, how long was he playing for Seattle? Was it 2 to 3? Was it 3 years? 2 years? 3 years? 3?
3 years. 3 years.
So, let me just check this real quick. Let me check Geno Smith. But I'm gonna say it's not real. Like, he's 34 years old. He's more of a pocket passer. I'm not saying he can't move out the pocket. He can, but I think his game is in the pocket.
Yeah, that's where he prefers to be. Chip Kelly's gonna move the pocket though. That's the thing. Chip Kelly's gonna move the pocket, and he's gonna also be. There's a lot of design rollouts and a lot of RPOs in Chip Kelly's system too. What he's adapted his system to is a lot more RPOs in this system. So it's gonna be opportunities for him to have a lot of keepers. And if teams aren't respecting his ability to run, I think he can gash them. And it only takes like, a few times a game or a few big games for you to get that, eclipse that mark.
So you're saying, let's see. You said 348?
I think 366 would he put up that first year. I thought with Seattle, 366. I think almost basically 370.
So he had 338 last year.
So he had 338 last year, and so the first year with Seattle, he put up 366, right?
I don't know if I'm reading this right here because it's showing his passing. Let me try to see if I can.
Let me see.
Get his career. Let's go career. Not the game logs. Ugh, it's too much. Damn.
Let's see. All right. So his rookie year, he put up 366. His first year starting in Seattle, he put up 366 as well. Then his second year, he only played 15 games. He put up 155. Last year, he played 17 games. He put up 272.
Let me see. Damn, why is it just showing us past years? All right. So you said 262 last year?
272 last year.
And the most he's ever had was with the Jets or with the Seahawks?
He tied it. His first year with the Jets, he put up 366, and his first year with Seattle, he put up 366.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Let's see. Okay, I see it here now. Yeah, finally. Why did they separate it like that? 366, 2013, and then 366 in 2022. Yeah, I see it here. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, that's not real. Hell nah. If he runs, if something went terribly wrong, if he ran for like 400 yards,
not necessarily.
Something had to go terribly wrong. Come on, like he's more of a pocket passer. We're not talking about Rich Gannon. You know what I mean? Early, coming to the Raiders, like that, like he was more of a guy that used his legs a lot compared to like a Geno Smith. I'm not saying Geno Smith can't use his legs. It's just he's more of a pocket passer, in my opinion. But let us know, man. Let's see what the chat's talking about. Bosco says Geno might match that number. He's talking about the 400 yards that Madison
uses RPOs. Because look at Will Howard. I mean, I don't know how many yards he ran for last season, but Will Howard isn't a guy that's thought of like as some like super mobile guy. But he used his legs, and it with RPOs. If you don't respect the threat of the run, he's gonna hurt you.
Safe, man. Safe below. I think we got it. He ran for like 200 in last year. 272. 272. Let's see, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in. Let's see. Bosco says Geno got fresh legs too. He might turn into Warren Moon on us. Oh man. Nah, facts. And we'll have East Coast on soon. This week. It's possible we might have. We'll try to make it happen. Maybe this week, or we'll check in with ECG and what it's looking like for as far as his schedule. But we'll get him on here, man. He'll break down this film, man.
My guy Chris in the chat, he fighting for his life.
Hey.
I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
He defending his Michigan guys to the death.
Hey, no, for real? I didn't know that. Geno didn't run no 4-4 coming out.
I wouldn't be surprised. Geno he ran the spread offense at West Virginia, bro.
Yeah, but he didn't run no 4-4. Let me see. Geno Smith 40.
He was there with Tavon Austin.
Yeah.
Was Steve Slayton his running back?
No, his receiver was a receiver. Steve Slayton. Oh,
Steve Slayton was a running back.
You talking about West Virginia?
West Virginia, and then he had the other receiver opposite of Tavon was nice too. He's a little dude too.
4.59. He ran a 4.59.
4.59. Okay.
Yeah, 4.59. Let's see. Which is not bad.
No, it's not bad.
It's not bad. Let me see. Damn. That's West Virginia.
Derek Lewis, I don't know if that's true or not. Derek Lewis said he's got an 89 speed in Madden. I don't know how true that is.
Hell no. Hell no. You ain't got no 89 speed in Madden. What the hell? Nah. Hell no. If you got 89 speed in Madden, you got to at least ran like a 4.5.
4.6. 4.6 is still, man. If you think 4.6, that's man.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. But 4.4 is not the same as 4.59 though.
Nah, 4.4 is not nowhere near the same as
4.4. Are you a deep threat? I mean, that's what Trey Tucker ran. Trey Tucker ran a 4.4, right?
Yeah, Trey Tucker.
I think his 40 time was probably faster than a 4.4 though. But
Yep. He's probably he plays faster than his time. But think about it though. Think about the quarterback 40 times you can kind of throw out the window because Aiden O'Connell ran a way faster 40 than Spencer Rattler. But Spencer Rattler is a way better runner than Aiden O'Connell.
Oh, I forgot. Stedman Bailey, Tavon Austin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at who's the running back.
It wasn't Steve Slayton?
Oh, they had a cornerback named Vernon Davis. Let's see. It says in 2012 their running back was DJ Hunt. And let me see if it's not showing.
Oh, Steve Slayton he was there earlier. Okay, he left. He left there before Geno was there. He was at West Virginia, but he was there before Geno was there.
Okay. I'm trying to look.
I remember him being there. Man, that was like one of my favorite players.
Man, these college teams got hella players.
Yeah, yeah, they have stupid amount of players.
Yeah. Man, but we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in at this point, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, it's been a great show. Man, y'all been cracking jokes left and right. He said, Derek, 89 speed, man. I'm not even gonna check it. Just
yeah,
I know Derek, I know you guys.
Trolling.
Man. Forces got him looking closer to Cunningham than Vic. But Cunningham was fast though. I wonder where Cunningham's 40 was. Was he? He was fast. Cunningham was fast.
He was fast.
Well, I don't know what his 40 time was though. Did they even clock 40 times back then?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they did. Remember people talking about Bo? Bo ran like a 4.1. Remember that? Remember that was a rumor?
Damn, that's wild, bro. If he ran a 4.1 at his size.
Yeah, but that was like I said, that's the urban legend. That's the urban legend stuff people be having.
What? Swear to 89? Damn.
Is it?
Madden just people that work at Madden, they just be doing whatever.
It's really 89. I'm telling bro, Geno's an athlete though, bro. Geno's an athlete.
No, Derek, I'm really gonna check it, and the next time you say something, this is hey, everything's hanging on the balance right now. This is your credibility. I'm gonna look this shit up. But that'd be wild though. If he's not
89 is too damn fast though. Let's see. 89 is too damn fast. Geno's an athlete, but 89, like I'll put him in like the low 80s.
No, he wasn't. He's not Vic fast. Hell no. Vic was a whole different level.
Nah. Vic is a whole different.
Vic was damn, man. It was. I don't think there was any player that you compare. Maybe Lamar. Lamar would probably compare to possibly Vic, but Vic had it was a whole.
Nah, bro. No, I'm looking at it right now.
It's 89.
Geno Smith is an 89 with an 84 in acceleration.
The 84 in acceleration. That's funny.
Man, they got Geno juiced, bro. What the hell?
Hey,
Geno's juiced on here. He got an 80.
Hey, man.
He got a 90 in short throw.
At least you can play with the Raiders on Madden.
Then.
At least you can play with the Raiders on Madden, because I ain't gonna lie, the quarterback situation, you couldn't play with the Raiders on Madden.
Nah, we need another receiver though. I can't play with no. We can't. I need another receiver though. Bro, I can't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, we'll
so
mock you talking about
I ain't trolling. All right, man. I'm gonna take your word for it, man. We got
my mock from Sunday. My winning mock.
You had a mock on Sunday?
Yeah, me, Chris. We all did. Me, Chris, and 805. We all did mocks. I probably had one of the best mocks of all time, if I do say so myself.
Well, who'd you pick in the first round?
So I traded back. I don't remember. I made so many trades, but I traded back to 9. I picked up Tetaroa.
Oh.
And then I traded back to 7. And then I traded back again to 9, and I picked up Tetaroa at 9. And then in the second round, I picked up Tyleek. And then again in the second round, I picked up Josh Connerly. And then in the third, I picked up And then in the third, I picked up Cam Scatterbo.
Ooh.
And then I picked up Danny Stutzman, who's a linebacker from Oklahoma. He's a pretty good player. And then at 108, I picked up Tyler Shuck. And then at 115, I picked up Dylan Sampson. And
Okay.
then at 132, I picked up Femi Oladipo, edge. And then at 143, I picked up Jabbar Muhammad, who was a nickel from Oregon, who I like. He played for Washington the year Mike Penix was there. I loved him that year. ECG said he kind of last year with Oregon, but at Washington he was a dog. Then at 180, I picked up Zach Frazier, who was the guy, or Zach Frazier, the guy that ran that crazy 40 from UTSA. And then I picked up your boy, Deontay Thornton at 213. And then I picked up another offensive tackle, Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon at 215. And then I picked up one last running back, LaQuint Allen at 222. And I had an extra third-round pick in 2026 for my trades.
Hey, man. Hey, man, my guy, man. Hey, man. I think they need to hire Severe, man, for GM for the Raiders, man. I think they need to do that, man. That sounds like a fire draft, by the way, man. But before we even move on, man, my guy Ruben with the super chat, appreciate the support. He says Chip made DTR a draftable QB. Geno could have a career year with Chip. If he runs for 450 plus, he's probably having 10 plus fumbles.
That's a possibility.
Hey, but you know what thing? The one thing that I seen Chip say in an interview prior to becoming the offensive coordinator, or I think at the same time, I think around the same time he became OC for Raiders, he mentioned how he tailors his offense. Yeah, you have a system, but at the end of the day, you have to tailor your offense around the strength of the players that you have. So I'm sure he's going to recognize what Geno is good at. And come on, Geno's a pocket passer. I mean, he's a guy that can pass. He's a pocket passer that can move. He can run.
Yes.
He can get you a first down with his legs.
Yeah.
But 89 speed, that's wild, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, and one thing I would say about in favor of y'all argument about Brock having like an even bigger year, like he said how he turned DTR into a draftable player. Like he turned Greg Dulcich into, I think, the number one tight end taken that year. Greg Dulcich is like out of the league 2 years later. Like, so, like out of the league. So, like he's gonna know how to get, because Greg Dulcich is essentially like a very, very poor man's Brock, you know, except not as good of a blocker. But you know, like, and he's a little, I would say he's like a little more smooth than Brock, but he's nowhere near the athlete, nowhere near the physical presence of Brock. So, like if he can do that with Greg Dulcich, he's gonna be able to do some crazy stuff with Brock.
Man, I hope so.
Crazy stuff.
I hope so, man. Hey, Derek, man, my bad, man. Your word is gold here, man. Your word is gold, man. You're right. You're right. But hey, you know what? If Michael says if Geno's 89, Vic is 99. Nah, I look. What did Derek Carr run? What was his 40 time? We just seen that. We just found out that
probably the same. Probably like 4.6.
Literally a 4.6, and Geno ran a 4.59.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that Derek Carr's he wasn't no 89 or 80 something as a rusher?
Yeah, but that's the thing though. You gotta look. You can't look at, because Aiden O'Connell has a faster 40 than Patrick Mahomes. He has a faster 40 than Spencer Rattler. We saw Spencer Rattler run against us. Aiden O'Connell has a faster 40 than Spencer Rattler.
That's true.
But
That's true.
it's it's like when your ability to run as a quarterback, it's not all predicated on, like your 40. Like it's a lot of it is instinct, a lot of it is awareness. You have to have a feel for it.
Quickness,
and some guys have a feel. Yeah, some guys have a feel for it, and some guys just don't. Like Derek Carr, he was starting to learn it under Gruden, but Josh McDaniels shut all that shit down. And Aiden O'Connell just doesn't have it. He's never gonna have it, unfortunately.
Geno Vic. That's gonna be wild, man. You only use the Raiders. I feel you, man. But look, it's been tough, man. In the last few years, it's been looking ugly. At least at quarterback. At least at quarterback.
I haven't played Madden since like 2016. So last time I used the Raiders, we was pretty good. So yeah.
And the hack though with Madden 2 is like speed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So like you could like literally adjust your lineup to put the fastest player on there, and you can make it work for you. But last few years, I mean, I don't know, the Raiders had kind of like a lot of slow players, to be honest with you. I mean, outside of Trey Tucker was probably the fastest player at wide receiver. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is Mattering just measured against QBs? If so, then 89 makes 89 is way too high. That's way too high.
Yeah.
Hey man, hey, don't be hating, man. Don't be hating, man.
Hey man, it's Jonathan Studio. Hey, yeah, man.
Hey,
that was
Jonathan,
an A+ mock. Y'all be doing backflips when y'all have that.
Don't be hating. All right, man. Hey man, it's been a great show. We got to get up out of here, man. We actually went longer than expected. I was like, oh, we were right on time. I was looking at time. I'm like, okay. And one thing led to another. I'm looking up, and we easily hitting over 2 hours here, man. So we appreciate everybody coming through. We appreciate the support. We're going live on both our channels. So if you haven't already, make sure to head over to both channels and subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we drop new content. Have a live show, all that stuff, all that good stuff. Usually later in the week, we'll have Around the Shield. Usually that's a pre-recorded show, but lately with, the news coming in left and right, we've made that into a live show. So just hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we do drop a live. And, crazy things can happen during the off season. So make sure to tune in. We appreciate the support. Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
Y'all know what it is, man. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, on IG, Snapchat, TikTok, X, all that good stuff. Rocking out Sundays and Tuesdays with my guys, Christian Protected Shield and 805 Raider. Here every night on Tuesday night, the real famous 50-50 show. Make sure y'all clock in. Make sure y'all are clock out at this point. Make sure you hit them subs. And then Around the Shield, man. We trying to bring you guys a fresh guest every week. Usually Friday nights, but we've been mixing it up a little bit. So sometimes we go on Thursday nights to make sure y'all don't miss an episode. Just make sure y'all just click those notification bells. Make sure you guys get notified anytime we go live. You guys will be the first one in the room. And yeah, man, make sure if y'all haven't subbed to my guy, PharoahNFL, if you're on my channel, you haven't subbed to him, make sure you head over to his channel, give him a like, give him a sub, and vice versa. If y'all on Pharaoh's channel, make sure y'all slide over on my channel, hit that thumbs up and give me a sub as well.
Yes, sir. And also follow Around the Shield on IG and Twitter. We're trying to get the numbers up. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for the latest and greatest about the Raiders, memes, all that good stuff. Definitely give us a follow there. And yeah, man, just follow us all over social media. And if you want to get some latest gear, 50-50 gear, all that good stuff, Raider gear, you can check out the 50-50 shop. The link will be in the chat as well as the bio, depending on when you're watching this. In this case, if after this live, you can check the description to get that link. Yeah, man, it's been a great show. Kevin Lurker, man, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, everybody coming through. Any last thoughts before we head out, Severe?
Nah, man. Let's just see, man. We got a lot of holes on this roster. For a team that's supposed to be win now, they better put their foot to the gas pedal real quick. Yeah, no, facts, 100%, man. We'll see y'all later this week, man. If y'all gonna check us out next week on 50-50 Show, we'll be here next week as well. Man, till next time. Peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.